And as always, I'm sure you read the title. This is a totally natural way for me to sit. As always, you read the title, so you know it's that time. DC, it's that time for Brian Callen. And to find out just exactly why I have all these controversial opinions about the man, let me rephrase that. Why I have so many controversial opinions about this particular piece of work. Speaking of pieces of work, I did a little examining. I did a little looking into some of those allegations on behalf of Brian Callen. What was he accused of? You know, was this a classic Me Too thing? You know, was this just people trying to cancel comedy? People trying to make comedy not illegal? And, well, let's just say we'll look them up together. But first, my friends, we have another sighting. That's right, we're jumping right into it because we got a bunch of stuff to cover. But we do have another sighting of Alan. Therapist to the stars. Those of you that don't know, Alan is a therapist in New York City. And there is a list about 7 comedians long that you've probably heard of that all go to this same dude. He is Alan, therapist to the stars. Bobby Kelly, you know what, dude? Brandon Sagalow, as I've said before, quote not found. He's like the sort of ample Anglo gentleman. I've seen him on Story Wars, but he's a pretty famous comedian. Pretty famous. Dan Soder, ever heard of him? Jordan Jensen, The Hangovers, what the fuck is that guy's name? He was in Wedding Crashers. Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper is Jordan Jensen. Ronan Hirschberg, my personal favorite. And, well, personal favorite New York comedian. Maybe after the Who Did It Worst, we'll do the Who's My Fave. And we'll figure it out using the Eek scale. But we'll get to that. And also, Mark Norman used to go to the guy. Doesn't anymore because Alan raised his prices. Which, I don't know, maybe that's normal, but it seems to me like the dude's in pretty high demand if he's able to just on a whim, because they said it was something to the tune of like tripled his prices. I don't know. But in any case, I'm the only one on the internet tracking this shit. I don't know why I think it's important yet, but it seems to me like that has to be a big deal, right? He's the person that helps these comedians work through their thoughts and emotions. And then those comedians get on stage and recant those thoughts and emotions to us. And so he has a very, very crucial role in a part of a process that we all like to watch take place. At least. And we'll see where it goes from there. But this is the latest sighting of Alan. This is Silly Billy, The Regs with Robert Kelly, Dan Soder, Louis J. Gomez, and Joe List, episode 61.
Flats. But we're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
Luckily, I have therapy
boys.
right after this, so I can go.
You going to see Alan?
Yeah. Okay.
He's mad at me.
For what?
Is Joe List not on the list I just listed? He's not. Update. New Alan clients. Woo! Joe List is also on here. I didn't realize. I need to add this to the Alan list. Let me see here. Alright. Putting this right here. Alan sighting. Joe List is added to the list officially. I'm sorry I had to interrupt. That's important. That makes it a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of Earth's favorite comedians all going to be told how to think by the same dude.
Mad at you. Your politics?
No. He's fucking no.
I can't imagine.
So, Bobby Kelly says, oh, he's mad at me, dude. And Joe List says, why? Your politics?
You. Your politics?
No, you just fucking no.
I can't imagine.
No, I've been doing. I haven't made it in. I've been doing the Zoom.
Oh, he hates them.
I know, but I
hate
gotta.
Zoom,
If I don't,
Oh, he hates Zoom. A lot of opinions from this therapist guy. He's apparently finds people's political leanings controversial and hates Zoom, which I guess I can't blame the guy. But yeah, you're gonna try to peer pressure your subjects. What do you call them? Patients. You're gonna try to peer pressure your patients into like, oh well, it's kind of a drag for me. Like I don't like doing Zoom, so it's like, okay. Doesn't Robert Kelly have like anxiety or something? Or shouldn't you be? Aren't you the guy? Okay.
I didn't even do Zoom with him. I did phone call.
I did phone call also. I never Zoom with them.
Zoom feels like I don't need to
No,
know.
I need to see somebody.
Really?
There's a Gen X take, by the way.
Phone call, I'm
good.
assuming that you're on your belly with your legs kicking up in the air.
I
on
like
your
that
bed.
though.
Phone call. We used to use the phone. We used to actually have to sit and dial the numbers. We didn't have saved numbers on our rotary telephones. Gen X, it wasn't that long ago, bro.
Oh, that's attention. That's
you
right.
doing fucking tummy time like Jay?
Yeah.
I don't like phone either.
I like
I'm
Zoom.
too
By the way, speaking of Gen X, do you like my, I'm pretty sure, knockoff Kill Tony shirt? This isn't supposed to be this close to the collar. The print's not supposed to touch the collar. I think they're probably, this is some kind of, what do you call it, counterfeit. And they did it bad. I think it's hilarious. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's so tiny too. I mean, the shirt's an XL because I'm, big boy. But like, this isn't how it's not supposed to be this high up, right? Does that feel weird? Feels like it's backwards somehow, but I don't think it is. Confirmed.
Distracted on the phone.
I like seeing his.
Okay, so he doesn't get distracted on the phone. Anyway, this is our Allen sighting.
Legs kicking up in the
I
air. on
like
your
that
bed.
though. That's attention.
This is actually a big one because I didn't realize Joe List was on his client list, and if I did realize that, I didn't write it down. So now I have.
That's
You
right.
doing fuck-
This was Critical Eeks history. Oh, right, the intro line. Critical Eeks, where people, where analytical fools sip and over analytic. Come back to me. I can do better.
fucking tummy time like Jay?
Yeah.
I don't like phone either.
I like
I'm too
Zoom.
distracted on the phone,
I like seeing his face so I know he's not fucking falling asleep.
which happens sometimes.
Does.
Critical Eeks, we're self-assured folks. Sit, sip, and overanalyze jokes. We'll take the second one.
Time I was playing, I was on a Zoom therapy session. And I was playing Fortnite.
That's fucking hilarious.
I licked my hands.
Why are you even doing the therapy session? The thought of you just going like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think she died of cancer, and I was like, hold on, sorry. Yeah, she died of cancer when I was like,
Let's go ahead real quick. We got to go back. I don't think Lewis says that he goes to Allen. I think he was just trying to relate
Seeing his
to these people who all see the same guy.
face so I know he's not fucking
And good for Lewis for not going to that dude. I don't know if it's a principled thing or because he kind of doesn't talk about it. He just sort of moves right past it. But
falling asleep.
Which happens sometimes.
So I remember
Does.
one time I was playing.
what did Joe just say? What? Okay, I gotta quit yapping.
Legs kicking up in the
I
air. on
like
your
that
bed.
though. That's
Yeah.
So
attention.
he's saying like, oh, that'd be fun to kind of sit in your bed with your legs kicking up in the air. Lewis being funny.
That's
You
right.
doing
We're in
fucking tummy time like Jay?
Yeah.
I don't like phone either.
I like
I'm too
Zoom.
distracted on the phone,
I like seeing his face so I know
I don't like the phone either.
he's not fucking falling asleep.
which
I like seeing his face so I know he's not fucking falling asleep.
I like
I'm too
Zoom.
distracted on the phone,
I like seeing his face so I know he's not fucking falling asleep.
which happens sometimes.
So I remember
Does.
one-
Which happens sometimes. Who is this Allen dude? Someone get Allen on the phone or the Zoom. I gotta talk to him, but not in like a desperate way. Anyway, apparently Allen is a little bit opinionated and perhaps a touch negligent. Perhaps, in my opinion, allegedly. Please be cool, Allen. I'm going to continue to track these sightings, and I think they're going to become more and more frequent because it seems to me that he's probably, this Allen guy, is probably aware of the fact that they talk about him. And clearly he doesn't have an issue with it. I would argue he's probably probably GOs on it. Offgets. I imagine he probably likes it a lot. Because people like to feel like they're on national television. Like Uncle Jolly. So, I think with that, what we're going to do, we're going to get into a little bit of some pretty dark stuff in a second here. Because we're going to go over Brian Callen's actual accusations. Kickstart why you're... Okay. Do people still do your just why, or do people still do your just you, the letter U, and then the letter R? That's a classic, man. That's a throwback. What's your name? Terramate. No. So, anyway, in a minute here, we're about to go through the Brian Callen accusations. What do they call it? Trigger warning. These are fucked up. These are way worse than I thought. These make Chris D'Elia seem like a fuckboy. Like, oh, God. All right. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. One quick piece of ado, though. I'm going to be accompanying it with a little bit of music. Hopefully that will help to lighten the load. But if you're new here, what we like to do is go over the accusations and allegations of a comedian before we get into their special. Jippo, you're probably thinking to yourself, could it really be that common? It can. So, here we are. Alright, come on, Access Hollywood. Get your shit together. I gotta adjust the volume here because Access Hollywood is a little amateur with their sound production. This just in.
4 women have accused the Goldberg star Brian Callen of sexual assault and misconduct. Mad TV alum Katherine Tigerman claimed in an explosive report from the Los Angeles Times published Friday that Callen raped her more than 20 years ago when they were both up-and-coming actors. Tigerman and Callen first became acquainted because her father, actor Bill Fiore, cast Callen in a New York City theater production in the mid-90s, and the pair reconnected upon Tigerman's move to Los Angeles several years later. Tigerman recalled having dinner with Callen to celebrate a role she'd booked and described feeling disoriented at the restaurant after drinking half a glass of wine. According to Tigerman, she and Callen then agreed to go to a movie and stopped at his home above the Sunset Strip on their way, where she alleges he pushed her down on the bed and had sex with her despite her saying no repeatedly. Multiple people in Tigerman's life, including her husband and a close friend, confirmed to the Times that she had told each of them separately about her alleged experience with Callen. A woman named Rachel Green also claimed to the paper that Callen pinned her against a dressing room wall and forcibly kissed her in an American Apparel store in Pittsburgh when she was an employee there in 2009. One of her co-workers told the Times that she recalls Green confiding immediately to multiple colleagues about the alleged encounter. In addition, Claire Ganshert told the Times about her alleged 4-year affair with Callen that began in 2012 after she met the actor while working as a barista at a New York City coffee shop. Ganshert claimed she did not know at the time Callen was married and that he offered to help her acting career. Ganshert alleged that Callen once told her women have a, quote, biological primal desire to be raped, which Callen denied to the Times. Ganshert shared that she sought therapy after her relationship with Callen ended, and she realized she'd felt he'd taken advantage of their power dynamic and 20-year age difference. The most recent allegation against Callen comes from comedian Tiffany King, who claims he offered her stage time and money in exchange for oral sex in 2017 when she was struggling with a contentious divorce and child custody battle. King shared her experience
I don't really know how to feel about that one. Oof, that is fucking dark. I feel like I provided a little bit of levity with my boom, 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 boom. But now you know. Now I know. Now we're all on the same page regarding the allegations against Mad TV's Brian Callen. Oh, that was dark. That was dark. We need a little bit of a palate cleanser here. We're going to play some more of the Bard Fox music. Shout out to Bard Fox for letting us use their music. Actually letting us use it rather than these royalty-free posers out here pretending. These royalty-free pretenders. Who copyright claimed my Matthew Broussard video. Got like 6 views, man. I'm an 8 to 10 views, man. Anyway, so we're going to go over Brian Callen's special beat by Precious Beat, and then we'll probably rewind and go over that beat again, and it'll take 3 hours. It's a whole fucking thing. You're going to have a great time. But we're not just out here shooting from the hip anymore. All right, now we're firmly planting against the shoulder so as to absorb all of the... Anyway, I'm going to go over what's on the EEC scale. If you are someone who is curious about what's on the EEC scale, or if you want to use it for something, you have to call it the EEC scale. But it came to my attention recently that, like, all these comedians get so offended when non-comedians are critiquing their work. Which, by the way, is a classic. Oh, you think you could do better? No, I think I have better taste than you. In any case, they get all upset when people that aren't comedians critique comedy. Even non-comedians get upset when non-comedians critique comedy. Okay, fair enough. But I'll say this. Kill Tony last week put out their WrestleMania episode, which was low. It was a low score. It was a low score even for my boy, King Hinchcliffe. Hail Hinchcliffe. It was bad. Even for Kill Tony, it was really, really bad. And not for the reasons that some people think, where it's like, oh, the comedians aren't even funny. Yeah, that's sort of the point. In some cases, it's sort of the point. Every now and again, you'll get a good one. But Kill Tony's got this big to-do with Netflix, and they won't let the fans talk bad about Netflix or whatever. It's like a running joke. And so he's proved to be pretty loyal to Netflix. However, that same night, the same night as Kill Tony WrestleMania, a show was released that was suggested by Netflix right after Kill Tony Mania. And I don't remember what it was called, but it was Kevin Hart and Keegan-Michael Peele, or whatever that fucking commercial actor's name is. Yes, for anyone, by the way, Keegan, for anyone that didn't see your show, we know you as the car insurance guy. You are the commercial guy. It doesn't matter if Danny McBride and Bon Jovi were in that Allstate commercial, my man. Like, you're still a commercial actor. That's what I know you from. That's what I've seen you in the most. P.S. I was talking about my fiance the other day, and I personally believe that in the Key and Peele sketch show, very popular sketch show, sure, there are sketches I have seen and they are funny, but it's almost never Keegan-Michael Peele. I don't know his name. It's never that guy. He's the dude that kind of like sets the other guy up, who I guess is like a brilliant director and shit now. God, that has to suck for you, Keegan-Michaels. Because you're doing Allstate and he's doing, I guess, groundbreaking cinema. Anyway, so Netflix puts out this show on the same day as Kill Tony Mania, which is hosted by Kevin Hart. He brings on Keegan-Michael Key and Chelsea Handler was at some point around. Kumail Nanjiani, who we like here. I like Kumail. Friend of Dan Harmon's. Friend of mine, parasocially. Anyway, the show comes out the same day as Kill Tony Mania. And Kevin Hart, the great and tiny Kevin Hart, has no idea how to critique comedy. He has no idea what to apply. They just keep repeating the same shit to each other where they go, that was funny. That was very that was funny. You thought that was funny? That was funny. That was very smart. She's really smart. Like it's funny. Like she's just so smart. It's funny. It's like, oh, you bitches need the EEC scale. So, $19.99 a month, subscription based only. You can use my format, and it is as follows. Introduction. We measure informative efficiency. How much do we know about the artist due to the introduction? Sets tone. Does it reflect who the artist is? I said it last episode, but if Big J. Okerson walks out to Korn, right on. If Big J. Okerson instead comes out to, I don't know, some kind of hip-hop or something, you know, it's as long as it's within the realm of their character and helps to set the stage for them, they could gain a point from that. The next section is transitions, juxtapositional timing, or subject adjacency. You can score points every time you do one of these things. So juxtapositional timing, for those that don't know, they're talking about one subject, they pause, and then they talk about something that's completely unrelated. And their timing in that pause, that's juxtapositional that's just juxtapositional timing. How well did you set these two subjects, which are juxtaposed to one another, how well did you set that up so that we can feel that contrast and know that it's intentional versus just not making a transition between two unrelated subjects. Juxtapositional timing. Subject adjacency are these two things. If you're not going to do juxtapositional timing, how well do your subjects transition into the other? Oh, speaking of my phone, I got a call from my mom the other day, and oh, she's blah, 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 blah. It literally can be that simple, just one sentence to connect the two subjects. And then on the act, on the greater whole, we have hinges. And how well do they crescendo to these hinges? How are they doing a 2-act structure, a 3-act structure? It doesn't matter. As you're building up to those act breaks, how big do you build up? And then you're in the next one. You know, that kind of ebb and flow of a good performance. So how well do they crescendo to their hinges? About halfway through. So, you know, I'll do this when I'm done reading this. So if you want to skip ahead to the coverage, look for me doing this. Okay? Cohesion. Is there an Act 2 callback to Act 1? Is there an Act 3 callback to Act 1? Is there an Act 3 callback to Act 2? Cohesion brings the whole thing together as one cohesive piece. Stage presence. Character consistency. Did you come out of the gate super hot and wild and then lose energy halfway through? Are you able to maintain the character that you're presenting on stage the whole time? Crowd work, which is of course an X2M, which means if you decide to do crowd work, it's optional. But if you decide to do crowd work and you do it well, you can gain a point. If you decide to do crowd work and you do it poorly, you lose 2 points. Because there's nothing worse than bad crowd work. It can ruin a special. Or even, frankly for me, like with Charlie Barron's, I don't know that I can ever take Charlie Barron's writing seriously because of his very clearly fake plant, which he did a bunch of fake crowd work with. Your dog, wait, what is it? Your dog's name is Coors? Oh, well, I bet Coors. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Joke fidelity is the section. Callbacks. Are you, again, these add to micro cohesion, you know, it helps the entire act feel like a thing if you are using even short-term callbacks. Sorry, I'm recorrecting my lines here. Delivery. How did it land? Was it funny the way you said it? Did you say it in a silly voice that turned a relatively unfunny line funny? Monopoly guy. Are you remarking on a character who is ridiculous? And we only know they're ridiculous because you told us that. Well, then you're doing a Monopoly guy, and that's an X2M, bitch. Originality. Are you biting? Are you maybe borrowing? Did you do a Rich Hedberg thing? Did you do a Mitch Hedberg thing? Were you doing Mitch Hedberg? It's going to cost you a point. Did you make it the whole time not doing Mitch Hedberg? Congratulations. You've got a point for originality. Rug pull reliance. This is an interesting one because there's a lot of nuance to this. Is the comedian relying on the fact, is the comedian dependent on the fact that they can just say a thing at the end of a setup, and if it's not what you were expecting, punchline, right? Oh, the subversion of expectation. That's all comedy is. It's like, it's not. That's all surprise. You're thinking of surprise, not comedy. People get those confused, I suppose. Structural repetition. Pretty straightforward. Is your joke built the same way? Rug pull's very specific, but kind of the same thing here. Are you doing knock knock? Okay, haha, that was a funny knock knock joke. Your next joke comes up and you're like, knock knock. If you're only doing knock knock jokes, that's an X2M. It's going to cost you 2 points at least for structural repetition. Coming up to the end of the EEC scale here, subversion of expectation. This is the good side of rug pull reliance. This is where you've done a good job. You've used that power of subversion of expectation for good rather than relying and depending on it. Again, surprise isn't inherently funny, but it can be quite a hell of a spice to add into that dish, I find. And finally, my personal favorite, wordplay. Now, you know what? This is a unique one because this is an X2 plus and an X2 minus. You do wordplay and you do it well, that's 2 points every time, baby. Now, if you do wordplay and you do it very badly, or if you do wordplay and you do it poorly, that's minus 2 points. Anyway, that's the EEC scale as it stands. Kevin Hart, can't use it unless you give me money, big fella. And so, let's no more ado. Let's jump on into Brian Callen's False Gods. So right away as he comes out, you know what? I don't love to do it, but he's got a point already. Because the way he comes out, he kind of like works the crowd for a sec, kind of one of these. He's not actually doing that, but he comes out and he kind of does like a weird Chris D'Elia-esque dance thing. Which I will say, I believe sets the tone for what's about to happen. The artist that he is. He's that kind of guy. He does like a silly Mandragon character thing. People tend to mistake it for him being a douchebag. And maybe he is a douchebag, but he does this like this character again, this like, I'm a man's man, I'm muscle and I fight. And there was a time where he went on Joe Rogan and was talking about like how he would, I'd fuck anybody up, man. Like, and Joe Rogan didn't understand the joke as he is wont to do. And so it was like, Brian, people who talk like you were the worst. And he's like, no. And then so Brian's kind of in this weird spot where he has to like either be like, dog, I'm kidding. Or he has to just keep doubling down, which is the integral move. The move with integrity is to continue to do the bit until they either get it or everyone that's watching them not get it thinks you're funny. Anyway, so he does this character thing, and that's kind of what I believe he's exhibiting here. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to slap this in as a point for sets tone under the heading Introduction. I told you we're going over every beat. He hasn't even started yet.
What's up, Austin? What's going on? Yes! The mothership!
No, I don't know, man. It's good to be here. It's a weird world, man. I'm on my
Kind of a weird cut there, isn't it?
Mothership!
No, I don't know, man. It's good to be here.
They cut that almost like a song. You know, when a singer is singing, there are times where lyrics will carry over. They won't fit into the final measure of that phrase. Rhythmically, they end on one of the next measure. And so what producers will do is they'll have them record the next line, you know, rather than singing the whole song, singing the whole song, singing the whole song. Rather than doing that, they'll go singing the whole song, and then, all right, cut, next track, singing the whole song. And that way they can make the second line start before the first line is over, because then it technically fits, but when you hear them do it live, it always sounds fucky. Anyway, this is what they kind of did here. It's like a weird crossfade.
Yes! The mothership! No, I don't know, man. It's good to be here.
We don't have anything on the EEC scale for audio quality. I don't think that's what I'm here to really critique, but I will call you out on it. This is weirdly edited. That was a weird editing move. Oh, God, I bet the fucking... Excuse me, I bet the comments... Okay, the first comment on here with 2.3k likes says, couldn't start laughing. The next one says, the comedy special is the comments section. This was a tough watch. Canceled my YouTube premium so I could get an ad break. These are fucking fire. Everyone gets a thumbs up. Okay, so as you can see, this is what I was referring to when I said my opinions about this special may lean toward a little bit controversial. I have seen this one before, which I don't tend to do on this show. I tend to like to have you guys see my raw reaction. I watched it when it came out. It's actually the special. Here's a fun little fact for you. So, when this came out, I was doing videos in my older format. If you scroll back on the channel a little bit, you'll see that I wasn't always doing this like live show feel. Scripted videos with VOs and clips for proof and all that. Very arduous. And I did that for probably like 8 months or so, say. Well, then Brian Callen's special came out, and I had done a few special reviews, but they were scripted. Brian Callen's special came out, and I sat and watched it, and I wanted to record my thoughts as it was going. I was kind of just doing an experiment. You know, oh, this way I can look back, you know, Dumbledore's pensive. This way I can look back and hear what my thoughts were, and then I can write that into the script. So I got my voice recorder on, and I'm listening to Brian Callen, and I'm stopping every couple of beats, and I'm making some points, and then I'm kind of moving on, and then I'll go back, and I'll do, and I realized that, like, oh shit, I'm having fun, and this is pretty listenable. I'm enjoying this. It's for a very niche audience. Shout out. But this special, Brian Callen's special, is why I'm doing Critical Leaks this way now. So maybe that's part of the soft spot. It's not, but it's better for the story if I pretend it is.
Weird world, man. I'm on my phone too much, huh? Anybody else get caught in this infinite...
Buckle up, because this is where... right out of the fucking gate. Redact. Oh, yes, Jippo? You have terrible taste. I believe I've said it on script even. It's categorically bad taste. You do. You do, and your takes are bad, and I don't tend to agree with much of the things that you think or say or feel, from what I can tell. This included. Let's go.
Scroll, this social media... phone too much, huh? Anybody
I'm on my phone too much. This is the setup.
else get caught in this infinite scroll, this social media, this dopamine scroll? You know what happens every day I wake...
Oh, this editing is so heavy-handed. Stop cutting it like it's a TikTok.
Up and I go, I'm not going to look at my phone. I got 4 kids. I have bills. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to get caught on social media. But they...
Brian Callen has 4 children. No wonder he's fucking... desperate.
They get you with an image. They capture you, and like I'll just see an image of like a woman in a bikini on a skateboard. No, but I have to make sure she's safe.
That's funny. That's funny. I have to make sure she's safe. That's fucking fun. Like, I get that everyone hates him. I don't like the guy either. I would argue there's a good chance he's evil. you know. But that doesn't mean that I have to make sure she's safe isn't fucking funny. And that's a point for delivery, whether you like it or not. I'm the eek here. Thank you. I'm not saying that it breaks the bank, and I'm not saying if he continues to do that, I'm going to be ball washing him this whole time. I'm just saying that that's a funny joke. That's funnier than a lot of the shit we hear on this show. They're like, I have to make sure she's safe. That's a fantastic, you know what? Rather than delivery, that's going into subversion of expectation, because that's a fantastic example of what's good, what can be funny, how to bring out the flavors of that spice in the dish of humor. That is subversion of expectation.
Right? And then an hour later, you're like, I can't stop, you know?
Also, this is relatable, right? If you don't know what this is like, then you're probably addicted to your phone. I have to literally, I've said it before on the show, I have to go through and hit show me fewer shorts on my YouTubes, because if I don't, I'll get pulled in by some thumbnail, and I'll click it and be like, this one would be good. And then next thing I know, it's been an hour. Okay? As isn't any kind of boon to his writing at all necessarily, but we know that feeling, don't we?
This is what happens. The problem is it gives you desires you shouldn't have, and it makes you feel like you're missing out on life, which is ridiculous. Look what I get to do. And I'm
Okay, so this, on the other side of that coin, this is something which exists in this special. What we just heard him say is a symptom of something that runs far, far deeper in this special. A problem that is born far deeper in this special, rooted far deeper in this special. Which is he has this weird, like, pseudo-Christian tone thing that he's doing where he's, like, kind of one-man showing it, kind of doing, like, think about it. And that won't cost him literal points, but for me was a huge turnoff, and I do believe makes this act 2 of this, because this is broken into a 3-act structure. IMO. No. Period. It's broken into a 3-act structure, and act 2 of this is, it's a slog. It's rough. There are a lot of elements I like about act 1. I think he has one of the greatest lines in act 3, and we'll get into that. But act 2, from what I recall, sucks. I'm not looking forward to that part. I'm kidding. We're going to tear it apart. We're going to have a good time.
On the other day, I'm scrolling, and a dude does a perfect backflip off a yacht and just disappears into the azure waters of the Mediterranean.
Funny. The azure waters of the Mediterranean. That's another great example of this weird kind of character thing that he does. Azure means blue.
And the girls on the yacht are like, woohoo!
Yes.
You know? And I was like, my life sucks. Right?
Okay. That's not very funny. I didn't enjoy that very much. But I will say, this whole phone thing that he set up, remember that this whole bit was set up by I spend too much time on my phone. And that one wasn't very interesting, but that one was not the end of the joke.
Now then what happens? Then I get to another reel where a dude, he's a cowboy, a real one. You guys know.
Okay, so a big part of his act is his physical act outs here. So as soon as he says cowboy, he kind of like gets into a little bit of a horse stance, and he goes, a real one. Like it's the way he times out his animations. It truly adds to the material.
I know this, most of you probably own horses here, and dude, he's a horseman. He's on a horse, a real cowboy. Hat, buckle, rope. He wrangles cattle.
Is that the house is rattling? I don't know what that is.
That's his job. Dungarees, like.
Okay. Anyway.
He's a horseman. He's on a horse.
He's a
real
horseman.
Cowboy. Hat, buckle, rope. He wrangles cattle. That's his job.
So this is part of what I enjoy about this first bit so much. Because what he's done is create himself a vehicle. Narratively, he's got this vehicle where he can jump into all these very organically, in a very justified way, jump into all these completely seemingly unrelated bits. Brian Callen is a very physical comedian. So him doing the whole like cowboy thing is funny. I found that funny. He's set up a vehicle for himself where he can just continue to jump into these small pockets of these small, pocket dimensions. Oh, there's a guy who jumped into the azure water. A chance for him to kind of demonstrate his proclivity for obtuse phrasing. Metaphor. Then he jumps into the cowboy, and he can kind of do his man-dragon thing, where he's like, he was a man, and I mean like a real man. He got the hat and the buckle, and it's for him a perfect first act vehicle, because you can set the table. You're showing him, I'm a little bit of this, I'm a little bit obtuse phrasing, I'm a little bit physical act outs. Among other things, which maybe weren't as good as those things. But that's why I love this joke so much, and why I love this setup of I'm on my phone too much. And I can't believe we haven't heard it before. Because this is a classic, like, you hear comedians talk about when they hear a fellow comedian make a good joke, they're like, damn it, I've felt like that for years. I've never thought to phrase it that way. And this phone joke is very much in that vein.
Dungarees,
just dungarees.
Like this is a man who comes home and he smells like steer,
That's fucking funny.
And rawhide. His wife
smells like steer.
Wife is probably traditional.
Again, as far as obtuse phrasing, the subversion of expectation, that's hilarious, and he's not dependent on it. It's mid-line. He's just throwing in these little beats. These little beats.
Prairie dress. She's like, I baked you a pie, Right? They said, you know how much we owe to cowboys? You guys eat your steaks. You never think about what it takes. Do you know how unruly cows are? Do you know that cows are like, I'm free, and one of them breaks off? You need someone to be like, hey, get the fuck up. You have to... A cowboy is nothing less than a man who specializes in crushing really any semblance of individuality a cow may have. Right? Remind them that they're a herd animal and stay in your fucking formation. That's not even the point I'm making. So I see this dude on a horse. Now I have a lot of horse fantasies, and I'm not going to go into that. I'm not. It's a stupid thing. I don't want to go into. I don't have time. But
this is all very much in his character. This is whether, and again, it's with any good comedian, or really any good comedian, with stand-up comic or, host, it's tough to tell where the line is of, like, what's the performance and what's the you here. And I don't know. Probably it's born, probably some of the whole man-dragon thing that I think is truly funny. Probably some of that's born from his own narcissism. That's, I'm sure, the case. But that doesn't mean that the jokes aren't funny. That doesn't mean that the bit isn't funny. It's okay, so he sucks, but what is he talking about? What has he said? Is it well written? Is he taking the time to sew in these as I said earlier, this obtuse phrasing? Like, oh shit, who the fuck nobody does that. Very, very few comics these days focus on the actual content. They'll focus on, the beats, and they have these little, this story, this part of the story, this part of the joke worked in this crowd, so we'll add that to the greater, and they're building these kind of Frankenstein's monsters of these stories and these jokes they've told throughout, club to club in the country, right? And they're making sure he's got all the fingers and hands and both the arms and both the legs and all that. But focusing on your phrasing, that's opening him up and getting into the nervous system a little bit. That's getting into, you know, adrenaline glands, and not in the Hollywood adrenochrome way. But that's the inner workings of writing. You know, you're telling a story. Sure, the fidelity of your story itself is incredibly important, but narratively, structurally, it's very important. But the way you're telling it, and the way you're the way you set your own tone, that sets the tone for the audience. That's how we know. That's how we keep falling back into it. Oh, okay, cool. Even if I'm not enthralled by the story at the time, the phrasing, the little things like dungarees, and he comes home and he smells of steer. It's like that keeps me engaged.
The dude's on a horse, and he's no saddle. No saddle.
He's doing no saddle. Chris D'Elia bites pretty hard from Brian Callen. I mean, he's like goofier. He looks more like a fleshy genie. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know what to call it. I would say a genie, like a. Anyway, you could tell they're, for those that don't know, like friends. Well, not friends. I've seen him out. Yeah, I went on tour with him. We would podcast together, but I don't like know the guy. How would I know if he was texting minors? It's okay.
Just bareback.
Anyway, Chris D'Elia steals from Brian Callen.
The dude's on a horse, and he's no.
Neither of which are good people. Neither of whom do I like.
No saddle. No saddle. Just bareback. Bro, that's a horseman. You want to talk about being connected to a horse?
You're going to look me in the hairy eyeball and tell me that, bro, that's a horseman isn't just funny. That's not just a funny non sequitur.
Just bareback. Bro, that's a horseman.
Bro, that's a horseman. That's funny.
You want to talk about being connected to a horse?
To me, I think that is funny. And if you don't, I would ask that you check your biases.
That's not a guy who can ride a horse. That's a guy who will break a horse. That's the kind of guy who can be like...
That's a guy who will break a horse. I didn't realize how much of this is physical.
And his horse shows up.
He did the cowboy whistle, too. No points for cowboy whistles, but there should be.
Right? I mean, dude. What a man. You guys know. You know.
What is this clapter for? The whistle? They're claptering the cowboy whistle, as they should.
You know. Here's what got me. I watched this 5 times. He's not moving a muscle. He's on the horse, okay? It's just him and the wranglers. And I don't know what he did. Bro, nothing moved on his body. Nothing. But whatever he did, that horse from a dead stone still stopped. Took off full speed. That guy sent a signal from his root chakra through his taint.
His root chakra.
Through his taint into the beast's back. And that signal was, go now. And
through the beast's back. This is what I mean. Like, this is really funny storytelling.
Dude, the horse was like, yes, master, and boom, took off, running. He wasn't even using the...
Sure, there's an element of cringe-worthiness. I think that's probably true about anything anyone cares about doing. And I don't love all of his act-outs.
Right.
But I'll say, as far as a physical comedian is concerned, what he's doing physically, all the writing aside, but what he's doing physically is funnier than other comedians who lean into physical comedy. This isn't stool humping yet.
She was just riding, just controlling everything.
And it cracks me the fuck up because I'm split when it comes to Redact. You know what I mean? I don't really know what to think. Does Redact just have terrible taste? Does podcast cringe just not think critically and just kind of goes with the, like, you don't want to be a guy that's like, goes with the Redditor opinion, but you know what I mean? That just kind of goes with the consensus of the group, like, oh, we all hate this dude, so, okay, cool. So then that means that I can make content, and all you guys who hate this dude, you know, you're just going to come over here, and you're going to watch my stuff, and I'm going to make a Patreon, and you're going to pay me to listen to me talk about how we all hate this guy. That's me giving him the benefit of the doubt. All right. Pretty capitalist of you, which, forgiven some of your sentiments, it seems like maybe you're not so into. But sure, like, okay, you're just being a good businessman, man. Like, okay, all right, sweet. Get that cheddar, man. Get that Get that money, Redact. Get that money, Redact. Or is it that you just don't think through what you're being told to think? Is it just that you're kind of going like, hey, yeah, that's a good point, you guys. Oh, I don't think that's... I think Brian Callen is terrible. I haven't watched their coverage of it. We might do that. We might. Well, depending on how this does, how the audience, how my friends enjoy this coverage, and if you wanna keep seeing me peel this back, then I will sign up for that fucking Patreon so I can hear some of this ridiculous shit that they're teasing. Because the reason this is even on the Who Did It Worst arc that we're doing is because people like Redact and Podcast Cringe think that this is just as bad as Gringo Papi. And I'd have to do some digging, but I could find the clip of one or both of them saying that explicitly. Where they're like, you know, it's literally worse, as bad as Gringo Papi. I don't think that's true, but it's not up to me. It's up to the Eek scale.
Everything to control 1,200 pounds of bone and muscle with naught but the golden crescent.
Okay, if you can fucking casually throw naught and AUGHT into a sentence, you're cooler than American Redact.
That is your
But
inner thighs and taint. Dude,
we shouldn't be using that part.
what an expression of masculinity.
That thread.
Like, if I caught that guy in bed with my wife, I would be like,
That tattered and sun-dried yarn.
I apologize. Like, so I go from
Going back.
of masculinity. Like, if I caught that guy in bed with my wife, I would be like, I apologize. Like,
Okay, you know, whatever, fine.
so I go from acrobat to cowboy, and now I follow a guy.
So I go from acrobat to cowboy. That's a point for a callback. It's a unique one, but that's literally what that is. He's gluing the whole story together. He's reminding you. So anyways, so there's an acrobat, and now there's a cowboy, and now he's moving on to the next thing that this vehicle has very, very gracefully driven him to. He could just jump from whatever. It's brilliant. The fact that redacts of the world don't see that, just boggles my mind. Because it truly is a very, very clever writing mechanism he's set up. He now has this machine which he can just do anything. He could just describe any character. This is an anti-monopoly guy. If he was just telling me, I saw this guy who was on a yacht and he jumped into the azure water, you'd be like, sure he did, man. Like, you haven't done the homework to set up this ridiculous character for long enough that we understand its ridiculousness, so now you can talk about how ridiculous it is. It's Beth Stelling's dad is the example I give, the kind of anti-monopoly guy. This is another great example of an anti-monopoly guy. Some of you may not care about story fidelity, but like I do, and this is good. It's I would argue that you can't fault it. Objectively, narratively, this is a sound device. This is a sound device. Now that's comedy.
I come across this real. He's a sensual chef. There's no other way to put it. He's a
Sensual chef. Funny phrasing. I'm tempted to give him a point, but I don't want to get carried away here. All of this is just very, very funny phrasing.
the sensual chef.
Show me another comedian that does that well. And if you don't see the quality in it, then I guess there's really not a conversation to be had, because again, we're talking apples and triangles here. If you can't respect the quality of lines like sensual chef or smells like steer, then, then Critical Leaks probably ain't for you, dog.
He wears
Or it is, and I'll disagree with myself in an hour. Who knows?
naught but an apron. An apron.
Second time he threw naught in there. Held to the kind of standards I would hold it to. A little hacky. You can't really say naught in two adjacent paragraphs, but yeah, that's my.
Jack.
That's my.
He's got, first of all, his skin, his marble brown skin that sweats olive oil naturally.
Literally, like, he has olive brown skin that sweats, marble brown skin that sweats olive oil naturally isn't funny, but the way he's saying it, this is a great example of something that's performance-based rather than writing-based. This goes back to his phrasing, which I could go on about, even still. Even though I have gone on, I could continue to go.
His, I don't know how to describe his body. If it was a landscape, it would be unsafe to traverse in a regular car. You need special shocks. Even then, you'd be like, this is crazy, dude.
Let's do one more time for the folks in back here.
His body. If it was a landscape, it would be unsafe to traverse in a regular car.
If it was a landscape, it would be unsafe to traverse in a regular car. He's talking about a man's body. That's so fucking funny. There's something about that. I mean, that's why the second act in this special was so disappointing to me, because he comes out of the gate fucking hot. And depending on what way it slows down, it may cost him points for character consistency. But we'll get to that.
You need...
Because if he could be this guy writing at this high of a quality the entire time, baby, you got a stew going.
Special shocks. Even then, you'd be like...
Arrested Development.
This is crazy, dude. You know, just a goose. His body was demoralizing. Like, I was going to work out that day, and I was like, there's no point. Like, right? Like, why go to the gym? I'm an imposter. Nothing's going to grow. I'm not going to look like that. You know, if you can't afford a Ferrari, putting a fin on the back of your Honda Accord.
Incredibly fucking clever. If you disagree, let me know and explain to me why. Because I can explain to you why it's fucking clever. And I have been this whole time. That's the point. You know, it takes hours to have to go through and explain what's quality about false gods. I'm willing to take that time, because that's what we do here at CTE.
Putting a fin on the back of your Honda Accord.
We're going to go over that one more time here.
Point. Like, right?
What's the point?
Right? Like, why go to the gym? I'm an imposter. Nothing's going to grow. I'm not going to look like that. You know, if you can't afford a Ferrari, putting a fin on the back of your Honda Accord. So watch this. So now I'm already in. And the dude, he's a chef, so he just looks at me through these Mediterranean curls and just goes, let's make a sandwich. And I was like, okay. And he pulls out a piece of raw meat. We were having a meat sandwich, obviously, and of course this guy takes his protein very seriously. And there was no marbling. This was not a domesticated animal. This was mean. This was something wild. He probably slew with his own hands. And he threw...
It's getting a little tired, I'll give you that. Right there, like, I feel that, like, you know, that obtuse phrasing, as I've been referring to it, it does become arduous. You have to kind of use it in adequate dosage, because if you push too far, then it does kind of become tiring, and you kind of have to do math when you're listening. So, okay, fair enough. I don't think it's to the point of being annoying yet, but that, like this one, I'm like, okay.
Threw it to...
Keep scrolling.
He just, the way he thwacked it to the counter, it was such force, it tenderized the meat. He then looks at me and goes, let's spice things up. I didn't know what he meant until he began to grab handfuls of spices from cloth sacks, just recklessly. He wasn't even measuring. Just grabbing and dashing the spices, just dashing them.
Just dashing them. He's doing physical act outs for all of this. You can kind of probably hear it, but yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen False Gods and you want to see it in its pure form, obviously this is in no way intended to be a replacement. This is for educational and commentary purposes, and there's no way it's not a what are the other things?
Covering the meat in every color palette.
It's transformative.
You can imagine Aleppo pepper and cardamom and smoked paprika. Who the fuck smokes paprika? Dude, he was chopping vegetables with a machine-like speed and precision. His forearms, I swear to God, looked pregnant. Like, the kind of forearms, just the vascularity, they looked like a cluster of angry horse dicks. Like, just... I
don't love the horse dicks thing, but I did like the way he said it.
So then he pulls out a loaf of bread. I can't believe the guy eats bread. And I don't know what kind. It was a rustic varietal. Probably a French bouillie.
All right, clearly I like word-based comedy. Obviously that's like a thing here. You're probably aware of that. And maybe it's the fact that other people aren't into that type of comedy that they can't see the quality of it. But I can. And again, luckily, we have this. I have my own little vehicle in which I can express those things.
And he squeezed it at the camera. He just squeezed it. It gave way under his heavy fingers with a moaning crunch.
Okay, some of it gets a little bit. Yeah, what do they call that? Something in academia. It's a freshman dissertation. I don't know. It sounds like a college kid trying to use synonyms to bump up the quality of their writing. One more time so you can hear what I'm talking about.
There's heavy fingers with a...
Heavy finger, like...
Squeezed it at the camera. He just squeezed it.
Okay, and this next sentence is where it's a little bit of reaching.
Gave way under his heavy fingers with a moaning crunch.
See, it gave way under his heavy fingers with a moaning crunch is so clearly written in post. That's so clearly like, you've seen your draft. It gave way with a crunch. Gave way under his... I've said powerful too many times. Heavy fingers with a crunch. Like a moaning crunch. Like it's that's just bad. These are bad synonyms.
This was the most outrageous part. He takes a naked hand.
I can't think of another word for synonym, but you probably know what it is.
A naked hand, and goes wrist deep into a vat of raw honey. A vat. Who has a vat? This guy. And just comes up with a wasteful amount. I mean, a wasteful. His whole hand.
There's a little bit of repetition there. I sense it too. We're going to hit him with a minus right there. Because we've already... Hear me out. We've already seen this character reach off screen and grab an irresponsible amount of something. He's not even measuring the amount of spices, just handfuls. Which, fine. Okay, funny if it's once. But then he's now reaching off camera into a vat of honey. Who has a vat of honey? And he's just wrist deep, taking however much he wants. It's like, that's the spice thing you just did. Even if it actually happened, like even if he's reciting some real event in his life, cut that part out of the story. You don't need that twice. You're not adding to the introduction of this character in any way. What you've just said is that he's irresponsible, but still you feel he's in control. He's irresponsible with the amount that he's using, but you know he knows what he's doing with the spices. Then you get to the honey, and he's irresponsible with the way he's doing it, but you can just tell he knows what he's... Again, you've just repeated the exact same fact about this character. And that's a no-no.
Was covered in amber gunk, and I was like, what are you going to do with that?
Okay.
And he didn't answer. He just began to rub it.
Okay, well, now we are bumping into Monopoly Guy territory a little bit.
I know, some of it.
But it's the third one. So if the rule of threes is to be honored, then he's probably like, he's trying to end this on a bang.
It made it to the meat. Dude. And anyway, the sandwich came together. I can't remember how. It's a blur, but and he took the kind of bite your mother would scold you for. Just
That's fucking funny.
the choking
He took the kind of bite your mother would scold you for.
hazard alone. And the juices,
Okay, hearing this, I'm pretty sure I know what happened, and this is pretty classic. This whole special might have come out of the oven a little early. I'll prove it, but let me get back to that.
Jackson Pollock, his chest and apron. And my wife came in and she was like, "Why are you making that face?" And I was like,
She was like, "Why are you making that face?" And what's funny is he's not actually like making a like that's just what do they call that? Illustrative.
"As I'm
It paints a picture in our heads.
hungry," and
I fucked it up. Let's go back.
and she was like, "Why are you making that face?" And I was like, "As I'm hungry and probably."
Delivery, man. That's so fucking funny to me. That's a point for delivery. Don't get ahead of yourself here. I'm not being too liberal with my pluses. Again, I've pointed out what I don't like about this first act, but overwhelmingly I really enjoy it. That will not continue to be true.
Gay.
Oh, fuck, I fucked it up again.
Came in and she was like, "Why are you making that face?" And I was like, "As I'm hungry and probably gay."
What do they say? That saying the quiet bit out loud, right? That's kind of like this whole section has been very homoerotic, and so for him to land that way is fucking funny. Because even if you're the type that doesn't really give a shit about that kind of thing, good on you or whatever. It's even the gay people in the audience were going, "That's a little," because it's how gay people talk.
Advance into leadership.
And you're not gonna like me for this, but it's also dope that he waited. Your favorite comedians aren't doing this. Your dudes, the dudes that you're very into, Mark Norman's, I can't speak to Mark Norman specifically, but most of the comedians out there today, most of the specials I've watched, for fuck's sake, David Cross, who had a hilarious little thing on Bill Maher I watched earlier. We might get into that next week. We'll see. We got Brian Callen stuff to do. David Cross, we'll just slap an ad anywhere. Oh, it's been a minute and a half, and I'm technically allowed to put them every minute and a half, so here's another ad. You could have bought it on my website, but you didn't. I put it on YouTube for free, but here's another ad. And they keep hitting you with it, and fine, sure. I live in the real world. I know that you have to advertise, right? You gotta have ads in there because you gotta pay the bills, and you're a professional. I got money, cool. Me too. I gotta flex on this guy. All right. Sure, I'm not bending this up. It's gonna last me a long time. You gotta get your money. But there is something, I would argue, a great deal to be said about when and where in your video you put the ads. And he waited until his entire joke was over, and then he placed the ad. That is the most... It's tough to deal in the scale of artistic integrity when you're talking about advertisements, right? But that is the most artistically integral move you can make to at least your piece of work. I've said it so many times, but it's like, didn't you spend a year making sure this timing was perfect? That's not just a case-to-case basis. What you're doing is building a rhythm so that we kind of learn to lean into it, and then you can hit us that way, and we're like, whoa, wow, and that's good subversion of expectation, where the seeds are planted early, again, by lulling us into this hypnotic rhythm. And you can't do that if every fucking minute and a half you have an ad that if you can't get to the skip button, you'll just be watching for the next hour and a fucking half. Which YouTube is being crazy about now. I truly do. I gotta say it. I fear for the future of YouTube if they keep making decisions as calloused as that. Because they've done it incrementally. But now most advertisements, if you don't skip it, they'll just keep going. You just accidentally got involuntarily thrust into somebody else's content that has nothing to do with. I listened to a guy for like, as I was falling asleep last night, I realized I kind of like half asleep. I woke up and realized I'd been listening to some guy talk about the way electric systems work in a house for generators. That could not be more off base for me, man. I love running out of electricity. Or I woke it up to Ben Shapiro being like, I know people are saying things are bad, but I talked to the president just the other day. And I told him, Mr. President, I don't care what you do or who you kill. I will always support you. It's like I woke up, it would have been, 15, 25 minutes of me just hearing Ben Shapiro in my sleep. That is propaganda with a capital... I don't know. All of them. All the capital letter. It's crazy that YouTube is just like, well, I mean, no one's really said anything. We're saying it. I'm saying it now. Say it with me, goddammit. Because seriously, I fear for YouTube if they continue to go down this path where they are disregarding the non-premium user. I think it's happening as the platform itself. I think they're fucking up. I think that all the other creators on YouTube that are paywalling as hard as they are. Someone who does really well with it, I'll say, is Podcast Cringe still puts things out very regularly. And I hate to put this out there, but like, Too Lazy to Try, I only see every now and again because he's focusing on his Patreon, and that's cool and all. I don't know. There's something icky about it. Something icky where they're like, oh yeah, you're seeing this video, you're watching this video, but on my Patreon, I've got like 200 videos, and they're way better than this, and some of them are much longer, and I spend way more time and care about that stuff. You guys sort of get the swill. It's like, I don't know, find the happy middle ground. You don't even need to find it. Mike David paved that way for you. The whole Scars Club thing where every other episode is free and every other episode is Scars gives the pores... the pores, the same quality of show, but they don't have to pay for it every single time. And then eventually you fall in love with the content and you're like, dude, I'm willing to pay for those extra episodes. I hate having to miss every other episode. It's worth $10 a month to me. The only reason I would ever pay $5 a month to go watch Podcast Cringe's opinions is so that I could make fun of them on air. Anyway.
Days later, I purchased...
Oh, his ad. So he put this ad break at the perfect time. That's a landing.
An apron. I know, I wanted to make my wife that sandwich, my younger wife. I put it on, I began to make the same sandwich in earnest. She came into the room and told me I looked like I should be washing dishes in prison.
Okay.
My daughter screamed gross and ran from the room.
Yeah, okay.
So the point is, I spent too much time on my phone.
Structurally speaking, that's a fucking amazing joke. So the point is, I spend too much time on my phone. It's another point for a callback. They don't usually get thrown around that much because it really is, it's just something that I believe you should do. I think, again, as a storyteller, it glues everything together. Your callbacks, whether they are cohesion, like greater big picture cohesion to glue Act 1 to Act 2 to Act 3, or whether they are to put a perfect button on what was a fine little sweater in a joke. He spent the time to craft that. You feel how that made the whole thing. It put punctuation at the end, a capital letter in the first letter and a punctuation mark at the end. It was a fantastically structured joke. And if you can't see that, in my opinion, you have no business critiquing comedy or any writing-based medium at all. If you can't see the quality in that joke, his first joke right there, you bunk. Okay, let me take it again. I have this thing. If you can't see the quality in that piece of writing right there, You gotta quit swallowing the mouthwash. I know, it worked, right? It was great. Anyway.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I'll applaud. And I know there are going to be people who are like, oh, this guy made a 3-hour video about an accused rapist and 25 people watched it. LOL. To it, as I am wont to do, I would say 25 views is pretty good for this fucking channel.
Like to just go from that.
And so I clap.
Having to go from one.
Clap in the faces of people like Redact. Oh, everyone hates this guy. Me too.
Be an acrobat to a cowboy to a gay man.
We shouldn't talk about Me Too while we're watching Brian Callen.
You know? He said, the problem is that social media has a lot of useful information. It just does. You know, especially when you want to be healthy. You got all these PhDs with gorilla necks who can deadlift 500 pounds. You know, like my doctor has abs. It's crazy, right? Just traps, and they've got all the secrets. All of it. There's so much information, though, just to try to live forever. Good luck. You gotta just narrow it down, man. I'm not a health crank. Like, you gotta get sunlight. Get sunshine, direct sunshine, at least 20 minutes on your genitals. Like, just, right? Just.
What do they call that? The tanning, where you show your booty hole to the sun. I don't remember what it is. I learned it in Oregon.
Don't go crazy.
Don't ask.
Crazy, but if you have a pale vagina or penis, you're not healthy. We know that. We know. That, right? Are you guys cold plunging? Are you cold plunging? Huh? Are you? Be honest. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to be a jerk. I'm looking at this room. You guys look very inflamed.
It's pretty funny. I get why the PCs and the Redact of the world, PCs being podcast creators, nothing to do with political correctness. I get why those people are like, of course you're talking about ice baths. Not everyone can afford an ice bath and a sauna, Mr. Rogan. But that's, I think, kind of the point. If I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, which will eventually run out, I only have so much benefit of the doubt. I only have so much BOTD that I can provide a person. But in this case, he's earned it, and that from that first 10 minutes-ish of the special. In this case, he's earned the benefit of the doubt. I'll say I think he is making a balloon animal. He very well might do ice baths and stuff, but he also has a good chance he knows how ridiculous it is. And so maybe I think that is the point that he's making here, where he's like, and I won't lie, you guys look very inflamed. I have a pretty good Brian Callen.
Everybody here looks, this room is swollen. You should look 20% smaller. You gotta sit in ice water. Guys, you have to sit. It's gonna suck every morning after meditation, obviously, but...
See, he knows it's fucking ridiculous. He's being funny.
You sit, get in ice water. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck, but just stay there until you're sure you cannot have children anymore. That's when you know. Make sure everything is frozen, but here's the good news. Go right into a sauna. Go right in. You want to go from the waters of the Arctic to Death Valley, because that's natural.
See, okay, because that's natural. Because that's natural. That's an exact indicator of what I was just talking about. He knows that this whole Rogan sphere, especially at the time, this whole Rogan sphere, ice baths in the green room and cigars in the sauna, like, that the whole thing's fucking way over the top. And it's not natural, and it's not like people, that's not something that everyone should be doing. So it's hilarious that he's like, you guys got to. You have to go from the ice bath to the sauna.
And yeah, and you sit in the sauna. Sit in there. I don't give you, how hot should it be? It should be so hot it makes you a better person.
I've never been in a sauna. Maybe when I was a kid, and then I was like, actually, I definitely, as a kid, I like hot spit spaces. Wait, is the sauna the one with the fog? Why would that be the Death Valley?
Okay.
A little bit of an 8-pick, a jip pick.
Yeah.
I can say it.
To think about hell, all right? Yeah. So those are the two non-negotiables. And by the way, balance. balance, you all know this. This is, I give, my presentations are also full of useful information.
See, he knows it's being fucking ridiculous, and I promise you that in their critiques, PC and Redact were probably like, and of course, he just can't help himself.
And they are finding that when you fall in your 80s and you break your hip and die, it's because you had bad balance. And the reason you had bad balance is because you have weak toes. See, you don't know this.
Okay.
You don't know this. It's amazing. We don't talk about toe strength. That is the most. You're working your whole body. You're doing nothing for your toes.
We don't. And it is important. Stay flexy.
That is so irresponsible, all right? Listen, if you're not running in heavy sand barefoot at least 3 days a week, I do not know what to tell you. I don't. And I can't stand where people are like, I don't live near a beach. I can't find heavy sand. I have children and bills. Well then, die in your 80s, you lazy piece of shit.
He's got another point for delivery. That's so fucking funny. You know what? We'll throw this one in delivery. Dude, he's way out ahead right now. He did lose double point there for structural repetition because that is an X2 minus.
Yeah, you want to live to 105. That's the new 50. Yeah, let your friends die at 85.
Again, this is a perfect example, too, of just Brian Callen's character / personality kind of in a nutshell. I believe that a lot of this stuff he truly believes. But I also think he's enough of a comedian and enough of a critical thinker that he's aware of how ridiculous his beliefs are. At least so far, but Act 2 is going to make a little bit of a goose out of me. So that's why we're just going beat by beat. I'm explaining what is good, and then when we get to the stuff that is bad, I will also be explaining why it is bad. I'm not here to say you should like Brian Callen. I'm here to practice Death of the Artist. Google it.
You want to get to 105. Don't miss those 20 years. Yeah, that's a blast. From 85 to 105. Woohoo! Yeah! Can't wait to get to 100. Do you ever see what the average 100-year-old person looks like? You can't tell if they're male or female. You become involuntarily non-binary. That's what happens.
Involuntarily non-binary is a very, very, very funny phrasing. Even just phonetically. Involuntary, non-binary. That's be a good funk song name.
100 years.
Is there conservative funk? There's the band name.
Like your face looks like a used cat.
We are conservative funk.
Actors make your.
This is Earth, Wind, and Fire, but we churched it up a little bit.
Walking sideways like a crab. I won. I have strong toes. I eat kale. I sit in ice water. All my friends are dead. I'm a winner.
Damn it, Brian. You fucking Gen X ruined that whole thing. Let me explain. We'll go back.
Toes. I eat kale.
I have strong toes. I eat kale. This is coming from the 105-year-old. Funny.
I sit in ice water. Oh,
I sit in ice water.
all my friends are dead.
All my friends are dead. That should have been your exclamation right there, in my opinion, Brian. All my friends are dead. Because that's your exclamation point. That drives your point home the most. That's mortality. That's the ultimate absolute, right? You can't build up past mortality.
I'm a winner.
I mean, but in Act 2, you're going to prove that that's something that you don't agree with, but we'll get to that. Okay, so he says,
I sit in ice water. All my friends are dead.
all my friends are dead.
I'm a winner.
I'm a winner. Already too far. It would already cost you points up here. You know what? Let's look at the scale, because this might have cost him. You know what this is? This costs a point for delivery. I'm a winner. Already too far. You're wasting ink. You should have caught that in editing, but you didn't. And that would not have cost him points alone, but listen what happens after I'm a winner.
Sit in ice water. All my friends are dead. I'm a winner.
So he goes, random noise that's kind of out of his wheelhouse and doesn't really add to any kind of consistency in his character. It's like that's old people don't make that noise. It'd be one thing if it was like a or something, but it's not. It's just a random like Gen Xer ADHD unsupervised after school on too much Mountain Dew joke, because he not only goes he then leans over and goes and is like the most Gen X noise that anyone can make. They loved farts. They thought farts were very funny. They're probably the comics that are like, oh, we're, you know, they were probably the first comics who were like, wow, all we do is get up and talk about dick jokes. It's like, oh, it's probably the standard you saw set by Gen Xers. Don't fucking get me wrong. Most of my favorite comedians would probably be Gen Xers. But this is where it rears its head in a bad way. My parents were Gen Xers. I was raised by Gen Xers and all their friends and all their beers and stuff. Like I'm very well versed in the culture, and is very, very Gen X, disgustingly dripping in Gen X mannerisms, or I guess lack thereof. Yeah, that's why you got claptered, because it would have been way funnier if you had been like, all my friends are dead! I'm like, everyone's like, holy shit, he's unhinged, he's being crazy. But it's like, oh, my friends are dead, I'm a winner. Ugh. I didn't even like hearing me do it. Guys, that wasn't me. My dudes. He did this. Stop. That's what I do when I'm getting sarcastic, hypothetical, imaginary applause. He didn't do the wave, though. TM.
God, that's such bullshit.
It was bullshit, but not for the reason you think, my man.
I'd rather die smoking and robbing a bank. That's how a man goes out. Right? Salads for cowards.
Very, very Gen X sentiment, too. That's the thing, is he did a great job taking a universal approach to the introduction of this show. We all have been stuck in a doom scroll. We all spend too much time on our phones. Those that don't probably aren't watching Brian Callen's comedy. It was a very human approach to it. Objectively human. If you're a human in this age, you probably understand what he's talking about. But now you start to see that baton get passed to Gen Xer centrist right-leaning sentiments. Praise Hinchcliffe.
You know what the other thing is, though? You know what's funny? Is you can do everything right. This is the other thing you realize when you get older. You can do everything right.
We'll go back so you know the example I'm talking about. Oh yeah, but I'd rather die smoking and robbing a bank. That's how a man goes out, right? Okay, pretty funny. Like, it's sort of a decent summary. Not really a good tag for what you just did, but he kind of fucked up any time. He melted his trailer hitch with the like, you can't really tag you could tag all my friends are dead. I'd rather die, let it fade out. I'd rather die smoking and robbing a bank. That's how a man goes out, right? And then he says the most Gen X. This should be on every Gen Xer's bumper sticker.
Salads for cowards.
Salad is for cowards. You know, that's the, like, tough guy. Well, it's very truck nuts. You know, salads for cowards is a very truck nuts sentiment. Now, we have reached the halfway point of the show. And contain your excitement, my friends. I can hear you applauding from here. What we do when we hit the halfway point on this show is a little segment I call Reading Coreyography, an autobiography by Corey Feldman. When last we met Corey, he was still pre-10, I believe. what Michael had was not normal. I ached for Merv to come over and say things to me. Oh, I didn't get to that. Okay. That's right. So he would go to his grandma's house because when his mom was having episodes, he'd go to his grandparents' house, and his grandpa was kind of a hard ass. But on rainy days, my grandmother taught me to make macaroni and cheese, or fried matzah, or let me roll out the dough for sugar cookies. Or sometimes she'd just busy herself in the kitchen while I pulled out all her pots and pans and converted them into a mini drum set. The most incredible part was that she didn't even mind. There was also Michael, my only friend, Uncle Merv's youngest son. We both loved screwball sketch comedy, and we spent hours imitating the greats from Saturday Night Live, such as Steve Martin, Gilda Radner, using a little cassette recorder to document our impressions, then playing them back over and over so we could improve on our, quote, act. I had never had a best friend before. In Chatsworth, I'd hardly been allowed out of the house, to say nothing of actually inviting anyone over. And I'd never been on a sleepover. So when the time came for that, too, I was practically manic with excitement, picturing Michael and I chattering late into the night, snuggled under piles of blankets on the matching twin beds in his room. Bedtime, however, was awkward. Around 9, Uncle Merv and his wife, Mary, came into the bedroom. They kissed Michael's forehead, they pulled the blankets tight up to his chin, and they told him, in affectionate whispers, that they loved him. I had only ever seen that on television. That's when I realized that what Michael had was normal, and that what I had at home was not. I ached for Merv to come over and say those things to me, to gently rub my back until I drifted off to sleep. I loved staying over at Michael's house, but on those nights, when the lights were finally out, I often turned my back to him and quietly cried myself to sleep. This has been a reading of the Autobiography by Corey Feldman. Coreyography. Funny stuff. Jesus Christ. It's so sentimental. I suppose I should have known. The character Corey Feldman nowadays is hilarious, but my God, he's got a self-described tragic backstory. He also has memories from when he was 3, so genius? He's a Terrence Howard level genius. And he got past Rogan's bullshit detector. Shout out to Podcast Cringe's Top 10. I said in the comments, Podcast Cringe put out a video the other day that was like, the top 10 worst guests in JRE history. And, yeah, pretty good list. And not one of those people was Brendan Schaub or Bert Kreischer. So I commented. I said, there was not one mention of Brendan Schaub or Bert Kreischer in this PC. And then new line, I said, your mother and I are very proud of you. And that is a great example of Gen X humor done well.
The thing is, though, you know what's
mom.
funny is you can do everything right.
All right, I'm actually gonna leave you here. We'll put on Blue Harp again. This is more Bard Fox music, by the way. I'm gonna get a refill of coffee. I'm gonna take a quick little potty break, and we'll be back 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. fast forwarding. Oh, fuck. I didn't do that. This thing. Okay, I'm covering it now. Hi. Go back. Go back to like half an hour or something. I've misled my audience, and I'm sorry for that. Wait, am I supposed to apologize, or am I supposed to pretend like nothing happened? I don't know.
This is the other thing you realize when you get older. You can do everything right. You can literally take your vitamins. You can wear your seatbelt, go to church, pay your taxes, give to charity, eat all the food that's good for you, and somebody can still step out of the shadows and kill you. Right? You can. That's a fact. That's the other thing social media reminds you of, that you can die at any time of anything. I've seen all the death. I didn't ask for it, but I've seen people die of every way you can imagine, every way. And I think they do that. I think the social media gods monitor our levels. I think they're like, his dopamine levels have been a little too high. Let's bring his cortisol and adrenaline levels up. Send him the video of the escaped circus elephant that stomped that poor guy to mush.
Stomp that poor guy to mush.
Of the escaped circus elephant that stomped that poor guy to mush. And you don't.
It's funny delivery.
No, you don't see it coming. You're just like, oh, I love it.
Because mush, not a very funny word.
Elephants, why is it
But stomp that poor guy to mush. It's, the delivery makes up.
shaking its head so violently?
That's true. It's part of the reason I don't have an ex anymore. They all live in Texas. LOL, just kidding. Hail Hinchcliffe. No, it's part of why I don't have my ex account, or I'm not on my ex account very much anymore, because first of all, I'm a very impressionable boy. I have lots of my own opinions, but if I hear a strong enough worded, if I'm assertively told that I'm wrong, I'll go, okay. Oh, that's how I am now, then. This is what I believe. Which is in no way hyperbole. So I had to get rid of my X account, but also there are other, there's X Shorts or whatever, which I downloaded and has no affiliation with X whatsoever, but it's it's like TikTok, but there's, all the bumpers are taken off. There's no censorship or whatever, which to me, I'm like, oh, cool, there's going to be dudes saying the N-word or something. But that's not it. No, it's like, oh my God, like he said, the elephant, the escaped, that rampaging elephant that stomped that poor guy to mush. It's like, you've probably seen it too. That's why I stick to my safe waters, my YouTube shorts. I realize that the bumpers are there to make me feel like I'm good at bowling and not to tell me I can't go in the gutter. Does that make sense?
It's unbelievable. I thought a guy was running away from a bird. I'm like, look at the pussy running away from the bird. I'm like, that's a fucking drone. They were doing video. These kids were capturing themselves sucker punching people. Sucker punching.
Remember that? Like old guys, right?
People on the street. I went.
Isn't that like a thing? They're just going around like cold cocking old dudes. That's so fucked up. That's Hugh Meyer right there. That is something that is funny because it is not funny. It's not funny at all. It's like, God, so who could do that? But also, like, not a bold take or anything, but it's just like, God damn. I laugh because it's not funny.
And nuts. I looked at my wife. I go, first of all, you're too relaxed. I need your head on a swivel. When you're walking down the street, I want your hands up. I want you bobbing and weaving at all times. You know what I mean? And my wife is like, the kids are opening their presents, I'm like, Christmas can wait. But, by the way,
Okay, I'll say this. One more of those, and it's gonna cost him a point for rug pull reliance. We're right there. He does one more of those, where, kind of a relatively funny story. He gets a relatively funny bit, a couple of jokes thrown in there. It's pretty funny. He gets to the end, there's not really an ending, so he just says something ridiculous. That's a rug pull.
I still box. I still keep myself. I'm always ready.
By the way, in case I forget this later, the word is dénouement. Okay, it's dénouement. It's a French word.
And the other day, this is what happens.
ironically, this will all come together at the end.
I always say, go light. I'm rolling with this kid, 26 years old, gives me his ankle. Don't give me your ankle, bro. You can't just...
Okay, he's doing jiu-jitsu stuff, so hopefully he's still being a little bit self-aware about it, but we'll see.
Leave your ankle like that? I'm an ankle guy.
I'm an ankle guy. Let's see, it's funny. I don't like hearing anyone talk about jiu-jitsu. I mean, maybe in person it would be interesting. I could ask some questions. But I don't really like hearing people talk about it.
Ankle guy.
But saying, I'm an ankle guy. I like it. It's funny. I was a big Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, The Mask kind of guy.
Leave your ankle like that? I'm an ankle guy.
Despite me using the Monopoly guy as an archetype for terrible joke telling. Other than that, I'm very into the very highly animated comedian.
I'm an ankle guy.
I'm an ankle guy.
You must have forgot, you know? I picked that, I just got that, I scooped that up, drove...
It would be really funny to do like a Tappin' Skins kind of, a Tappin' Skins type song where you use the allegations. You use the video where the news is talking about the allegations for like the verses, and then the chorus is like, I'm an ankle guy. I'm an ankle guy. You can't give me the ankle. I'm an ankle guy. And then Brian Callen was accused of pushing a woman up against a wall.
Went right down to the mat, had an ankle sky high.
Had an ankle sky high. Can't you just hear the Tappin' Skins cut up of this? It's in his wheelhouse, right?
And then I had trouble looking left for a left.
For those that don't know, Tappin' Skins is a musical artist who does remixes of things that comedians say. It was a really, really, really powerful little discography if you understand the context behind each piece. Like the We're Bringing Back the 90s with Joey Diaz is iconic. And if you ever need someone to know, like, what's wrong with liking Joey Diaz, play Bringing Back the 90s for him. And if he's like, no, that's just him, you know, that's Uncle Joey, then you're talking to a bad guy. Take your phone back. Revoke the link. Delete the chat.
7 days. Worth it! I'm just afraid I'm going to get bested by a younger, more symmetrical male.
More symmetrical male is funny.
And, you know, and my wife is young, and she's going to be like, it's just a business decision, you know? He'll raise my kids under a different name. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. Like, in my mind, in my fantasy, I'm going to be 85, still training, and I'll be in a cane, and some guy will be like, what's up, old man? And I'll be like, oh, no, you chose the wrong grandpa. But you know what the problem is? You know what the problem is? The problem is, here's the problem. I'm starting to calcify, okay? I am. That's what they don't say. I don't care how much yoga, I don't care what you do. Listen, you get to an age where if I have to fight for my life, if somebody attacks me on the street and I gotta go from 0 to 100 like that, I better be very warm and thoroughly stretched. I'll pull everything, bro. I have so many delicate spots. Don't worry about road rage. If I've been sitting in a car for more than 20 minutes, I can't just pop out of the car. I can't. I don't care. You could be beating my mother to a pulp, and I have to do my foot twirls. I have to. Dude, my Achilles will pop right off the bone. I do.
My Achilles will pop right off the bone.
Be right there, Molly! I'll be right there.
We're coming to the end of Act 1, and I gotta say, so well done. I don't like it all, but again, structurally speaking, the integrity is sound. And Act 1 of this special, I would put up against any special I've seen in the last 2 years. I would put the first act of this special with Ronan Hirschberg right up there, man. With my guy, Ronan. Love that man. I don't imagine he'd like me very much, but as Morpheus said, my beliefs do not require him to. Cracks me up to hate a guy because they don't like you. It's the most. Oh, you don't like me? Oh, fuck the things I was thinking before. It's embarrassing. Stop being that way. Examine what they might not like about you and figure out if that's on base. Because sometimes a person doesn't like you for a good reason, I've found. But this probably just applies to me. Everyone likes you.
Put your feet in his hands. Hands up.
Put your feet in his hands. Hands up. Okay. Oh, hands up. Okay.
So sure, dude. I think the responsible thing to do now, I'm getting to an age where if I really want to be safe, I have to start carrying pepper spray and a whistle. I know.
Do you live in Texas, my guy? Babies are born with pepper sprays and whistles down there.
Because that
You should have yourself a 6-shooter.
takes no warm up, and then, you know.
All right, I feel like Mason a dude is like pointing like this guy's a gun. You've just endangered everyone else. All right, you fucker.
Just call the authorities.
Can you be a travel advisor?
Okay, I mean the first ad was very well placed. The rest of these are just kind of fucking up the rhythm here, because we're in a little bit, you know, he's kind of a betwixt acts here. He's in a little bit of a limbo space, and I guess fine. So throw the ad out because there's no real like rhythm right now. He's kind of like between songs, so to speak. You know, thank you. You know, the singer's talking to the crowd, and the drummers, you know, kind of, you know, fucking around as the singer is doing crowd work and stuff. So we'll say that's where he's at in this particular show, so in this particular performance. So fine, an ad break there. Cool.
I'm not going to carry a gun. I'm not. I own guns, but and all my friends. And
you know what? I may have to add this to the EEC scale because I've talked about doing it before, but we can throw this under cohesion. Ad breaks, right? And this, you guessed it, is indeed an X2. All right. It's interesting because this will be an X2 minus with some exception. So this is an X2 minus in so much that if it is on your channel and you are putting so many ads in that it's fucking up the flow of your special, then that is minus 2 points instead of minus 1 per time it happens. If it's your channel, because it was your call. However, if it's through 800-pound gorilla media, the gorilla gotta eat. So it's only minus 1 point. If it's a collab between you and a bigger distributor. Because it should still cost you. But it should cost you far more dearly if you are the one making this choice. If you're the greedy little piggy who's like, it's my channel. Like, if you're the David Cross, you should have bought it. You should have bought it. What is comedy free? You should have bought it. Now I'm going to put ads every minute and a half. And it's like he would have lost 2 points every time he did that, which would have buried that fucking special. But that's how it should be. In my opinion, in the medium we're watching. Now, it just won't apply if I'm watching this on somewhere where there's not commercials, right? But for what I do on YouTube, commercials are a factor. And it does become a part of the writing, a part of the greater production process. Yes, sound falls under that category, but it's a little bit detached from what I'm talking about. Ads fuck up the sequence of your story in such a way that it does affect and impact the narrative integrity. And in a lot of ways, that's what we're critiquing. So there's a new addition to the EEC scale, Kevin Hart.
Texas.
$20 a month, please.
Home of the brave, you know. You know what I mean? But for me, it's just, it's too heavy.
Let's talk about a gun.
I'm not. I own guns, but and all my friends in Texas, home of the brave, you know. You know what I mean? But for me, it's just, it's too heavy. I know. It just throws my hips off. I can't even wear a bulky watch. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in jail.
That's funny. And this actually is a fantastic example And counterpoint to anyone that thinks his man-dragon stuff is serious, because this is all self-deprecation based on him being very much not a man-dragon.
I'm a free spirit, I know. I'm not a gun. Even if I carried a gun, I'm just not responsible. I'm not. Within 3 days, I'd be like, where is my gun?
Not a good feeling.
100% that'd be me.
I'm told.
Dude, I'm not carrying a knife. My buddy, this is great. My buddy, I look at him, he pulls his shirt up. He's just kind of adjusting his clothes. He's got a dagger, a sheath knife. I mean, horrible looking dagger. Like, it's made for one thing. And he's wearing...
A dagger for self-defense is fucking nuts. Because if you've gone so far as to buy a dagger, you've probably done the thought experiment of like, all right, well, how would this go down? And if you can look at yourself defending yourself with a dagger, and you can stomach it, you've seen too many movies, man. That's crazy.
This way, so he can pull it this way, I guess. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, what is that for? And he goes, in case, bro.
In case, bro. Also, to be fair, I did give my sister a dagger. When I was like 18, I gave my sister a dagger to carry around in her purse. So. But I'm twice that guy now, right? 2 times 18. So, yeah, in I've learned in the second 18 years, that's not a good way. Mace, maybe a taser. And if you're really, truly live somewhere where you're worried about your safety, little 38.
Case what? He's like, case there's a situation.
Dagger's crazy.
I got...
What are you, fucking going full rogue?
Gotta open somebody up.
At that point, you fucking might as well carry a sword. Carry a gladius. It's only slightly longer and, you know.
Open somebody up? It's like, this thing will unzip you right quick.
Thing will unzip you right quick. Whatever. Can you tell I love knives? I always have. Since I used to buy.
Unzip you? You sell real estate. Why are you talking like this?
Unzip. You sell real estate. Why are you talking like this? That's very funny.
How many situations are you in where you're like, you know what, I gotta unzip? You said 3 bedrooms, fuck this, dude. Like,
you kind of did like...
What if he has a knife? What if the other guy has a knife? Now you have a knife, now you're in one of these things?
See, that's what I was saying. On guard. Like he said, what if he also has a knife? Now you're in one of these things?
Do you know how to win that? I don't. You really want to be safe? You really want to be safe?
Learn jujitsu.
You got to make money. Real, yeah, I'm talking real money. You know what I mean? I'm not talking Austin money. I'm talking Dallas money. Yeah, there's a difference, bro. Oh man, I'm talking billions. My buddy's a billionaire. That's, ready for this? That's 1,000 million. I fantasize about having that much money, and not because I have any charities in mind.
So, I think I've heard this called out before. Billionaire Peter Thiel. Which probably, you know, okay. That's not a swipe that Redact takes that I'm like, hey man, go for it. Fucking get him. You can't punch up any higher than a billionaire, right? But...
Ready for this?
He said his buddy is a billionaire.
That's 1,000 million. I fantasize about having that much money, and not because I have any charities in mind.
Look at you, Stavi. And I'm not the only person who thinks that, by the way. I'll comment my snarky little thoughts, and they don't usually get much of a response. There's a whole phrasing, a whole rhythm, whole punctuation culture in comments. Don't get me started. But I'll just, you know, I'll put my thoughts out there. Oh, you know, and sometimes I'll timestamp them if the thought is specific to a line they've just said. Like in the case of Stavros, you know what? We're just gonna play it next week. But I don't think Stavi is the incel saint that you all think he is. I don't think he's this reformed incel who's actually like a great guy and really down to earth. I'll give him credit for not going with the right-wing grift, but I'll go farther and say that I believe he's doing something that Redact is also starting to lean into, which is the left-wing grift. Oh, that's right, we've overcorrected. And we're getting to a point where you're going to start seeing more and more and more people doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on those leftist takes. But they didn't start doing that until it was punk to do, which right on, cool, go against the grain, yeah, right on, rock on and stuff. But also there's a nature of dishonesty to it, because Redact wasn't doing that the whole time. He was just being ginger with his phrasing when he knew he was talking to center right-leaning people. Hale Hinchcliffe, when he knew he was appealing to like reformed Kill Tony fans or people who are into the Austin comedy scene, he knew he had to be careful. But now that there are other people that are starting to come out, now that there are Stavies who are like staunch leftists, and he realized, because Redact did most of the coverage on Marin and Rogan when they were feuding and all that, and Theo, I think Redact started to notice, like, oh, there's a market for this. Like, oh, okay, I can start putting either his own beliefs, which I do believe some of them are, but I also think it's unbrave to only lean into it when you know it's safe to do. After he did the reporting on Marin and found out, like, oh shit, a lot of people support this, a lot of people are sick of this right-wing grift, I can stop kind of pretending that I like this stuff. And I think it's worse with Stavi, because I think there are things he just straight up doesn't believe. I'll say this: never trust a fat communist.
I know, I think I just want it because I'm just at heart, I'm just a lazy bitch. I'd love to just stop. I'd love to be like, no to everything.
I'm going back a little bit. I gotta see what he's setting up. He's doing a lot of like physical work. No,
I fantasize about having that much money, and not because I have any charities in mind. I know, I think I just want it because I'm just at heart, I'm just a lazy bitch. I'd love to just stop. I'd love to be like, no to everything. That's why I'm not gonna be a billionaire. My buddy, always busy, always. I'm like, how you doing? He goes, crazy week, dude. Crazy week? Why? He goes, just work. Work? You have $1,000 million.
You're a professional comedian. What are we? Whatever.
I don't even think I would flush. I'd be like, I pooped, somebody get it. Right?
Now you're pushing it, Callen. I saw somebody say in the comments the other day, I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was the regs. And they were like, stop this show and delete this video immediately or I will be informing Red Bar. Felt good. As a couple of us replied and stuff. It's just like, straight to jail, he's on the watch list, blah, 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 blah. And someone said, I miss him every day. And I just, that hit me deep. I do. I think many of us, many of us truly do as well. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I'm not really looking for new podcasts because I kind of like, after I caught up on Red Bar, because I've listened back to season, I think I've heard all season 17 on, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you know, you know. So I've seen season 17 on, and after I caught up, that was right when he kind of started on his most recent health hiatus. I assume a health-based hiatus. That's what he told us to assume. So I started watching these other fucking things, and it's funny because Mike would say that on Red Bar, be like, go watch any of this other shit, And I was, kind of thought maybe he was exaggerating or something, but like there are some that are okay, but nothing scratches that itch like the Bah, bro. And I'm telling you, Story Wars is fun. Kill Tony is fun, but like Red Bar fucks, dude. Yeah. Just putting it out there in the universe. I hope he's feeling okay. I hope they're both in high spirits at least.
My God. My God. Every time you hear a billionaire, they're so ambitious. I'm going to colonize Jupiter, and I'm going to bring irrigation to the Sahara. I will green the desert. I'd be like, I'm going to be cuddling my pony and eating my bonbons. It's a house pony. I'd be such a dick. I would probably have a staff. I'd have them standing at attention every morning, as is the rule. Good morning, everyone. I want something no one else has. I'm bored today. I want a chocolate waterfall and a square basketball. God, and you could be so safe. You wouldn't have to worry about jujitsu. Please. Carry a gun? How gauche.
I knew that there was a connection there. You're taking jujitsu for self-defense. By the time you're on the ground, you were already in big trouble, bro.
Stop it. I would just outsource my protection. I would hide.
I get it, protection, I guess, if you're talking about, like, if I get into a fight or someone's, like, being aggressive towards me and wants to throw hands, then sure, that'd help. But if someone's trying to rob you, using jujitsu is a fucking terrible idea.
They're a violent professional.
You there with a knife. Get in here.
Powerful men with aggressive beards. Warriors. Warriors who've inoculated themselves to the stresses of combat.
Really, really leaning on the phrasing, which is something that I haven't had to reprimand one of these dudes because they're being a little too elaborate with their phrasing. That's a first for me. You can tell he's probably a Carlin fan. Real word guy.
Sheepdogs in suits.
I appreciate, truly. This is stuff you kind of can't, you'd have a very hard time riffing this off the top of your head. And if you're going to take all that time to rehearse, you might as well make your song cool,
God.
And it shows that you give a fuck, and it's so... Right now, it's so passé to care. It's been for so many years now, it's been so cool to just be like, well, the Ramones didn't care, and I don't care either. You've heard me talk about that.
You could go anywhere.
The summary being that they didn't play punk because they were great musicians and they just liked punk, which happens now, but wasn't then. They just sucked and had bad stuff and weren't good.
Anywhere, you'd always be protected. If you did see someone coming for you, if you did see the wolves coming over the hill, you could just be like, get them.
I am an anti-guy. Dead Kennedy's fuck.
I don't know why I get so gay when I think about being that rich.
Okay. This isn't quite a callback, but it is motivic. A recurring thematic element.
You know what I mean?
Or is it reoccurring? Some people will tell you that reoccurring and recurring it's supposed to be recurring. They'll correct you if you say reoccurring. But one of them means at equal intervals. It happens again, repeatedly at equal intervals. I think that's recurring. And then reoccurring means that it has happened multiple times. You know what? We're going to look it up. We're looking it up. Recurring is generally no, this is Google AI. But recurrent is usually I go Webster Merriam, but it stopped popping up. I gotta look. Both words mean to happen again, but one suggests frequent or periodic repetition, according to Merriam-Webster. So recurring is generally preferred for events that happen repeatedly. Your boy was right. Recurring is kind of on a schedule. Reoccurring is something that continues to happen. So I think it's a reoccurring thematic element rather than a recurring. You're welcome.
I think that's what happens when you make that much money, because you can walk into a room and be like, I want to fuck everyone, And they'll do it, because if you have that much money,
Brian, that's enough. No sex stuff out of you, mister. Oh, God, it gave me weird chills to hear. Ugh, come on, Callen. We can't have this. I can't have this. You, if you have allegations, whether they are true or not, whether you beat them or not, whether they got dropped out of court because you paid the people off, or whether the judge found you guilty, doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is if you've been accused of sex crimes, you can't make jokes about sex. You don't want to, but even me, Death of the Artist guy, you can't, that's a bit much for me. You can walk into any room and be like, I want to have sex with everyone here, and they'll be like, yes. It's just like, I don't talk about sex, baby. Talk about your phone and ye.
You know, everybody's going to be like, you just start throwing money. Some people are like, no, it's against my principles. Really? Do you have a mortgage? I'll pay it.
Jail!
You got a 30-year mortgage? I mean, I'd be like...
I think that's from The Burbs. Keke Palmer, Queen. I don't. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I can't. I was watching something recently, and there was a woman who they hear something, and she just goes jail, and I loved it. And when I think of what it is, I'll credit it. It's not my thing, but I'm gonna say it all the time. So buckle up.
Like, let's go, bro.
30-year mortgage. You got a 30-year mortgage? I mean, I'd be like, fuck, let's go, bro.
That's worth it. Right? But money, man, money makes you do weird things.
They have this festival down in Florida somewhere. It's the Joke World Festival. And I looked up tickets last night, and they're $238 a piece. Woo! Yeah, boy, might be sneaking in. We'll see. I also might know the people who are hiring the bartenders, because I used to work for a company that does that. So I may have some people I can get in touch with, because I would just love to get in there. Wouldn't that be fun? Get a couple of shorts of me, like, oh, look, it's the shaman. How iconic would that be? Matt, you have any McCusker coin you can say? Matt, will you sign my McCusker coin? That'd be a great clip. Oh, but I gotta save my sweet monies. Now that $238 is a lot to a gypsy like me.
Listen, I'll tell you.
You see these tabs? You see this light back here? LED.
A story. I'll tell you. I met a super rich, like super villain. This was crazy. Like this. Like
no, we know. You talked about him earlier.
Like
Teal, right?
From the movies. This was nuts. I go to a party.
Redact, right? Can I please be in the corner? I just want you guys to like me and think I'm smart.
Party in LA at this house. This house, it's the kind of house you walk into and you're like, money does buy happiness. You know? And it was billionaires and movie stars and the people that have sex with billionaires and movie stars.
And Brian Callen.
So like, gorgeous power. It was just like, you're just like, what is going on? And I'm a pretty confident guy, but 5 minutes at that party, I've never felt.
I guess you can't judge, but like, doesn't it seem crazy that So the woman who made allegations against Brian, the first one, where she remembers being like dizzy after half a glass of wine or whatever, and then like Brian allegedly R-worded her in a very seemingly very real way. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is she told, the report says that at the time she told her friends and her husband about it. I'm just like, Brian Callen's a public figure. Like, I would conspiracy to violence him. That's crazy. What are we talking about here? Like, your wife told you that? This dude's still walking around. I know he knows jujitsu and has friends that are billionaires and carry daggers, but like, come on, man, gotta go full Ezio. Just like perched up on a church. Little hay wagon below you. Anyway.
More
you gotta creed that guy.
Visible in my life. Just nobody. I was a spore. Literally. I was just like, I
mean, like, I can't even imagine what that's like, especially because it's like a famous dude, and this was back in, I think, the 90s. So, like, if you were on TV in the 90s, you were pretty much king.
Clean the toilets.
Oh, that's why we got to do a party like this, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, he was in The Hangover for a short, I think, right? Callen was in The Hangover? Yeah, he was. Was Callen in The Hangover? And then we gotta kind of hit the gas on this. We're running a little long, and I don't want to end this. I don't want to end this before the end, unless we do it directly at the half. Yes, Brian Callen was in The Hangover in 2009. He played Eddie Palermo, the enthusiastic and shady wedding chapel owner/manager who assists the main characters. I would be so curious to see the timeline here. I imagine this probably all of the information we've learned all coincides, all correlates, and is cerebral. I'm sure him being on The Hangover was probably right around when more of the allegations started popping up, which is why he didn't explode more. Because The Hangover was huge, and it wasn't supposed to be. Ed Helms wasn't that famous before The Hangover. Ed Helms was the guy that pulled his tooth out, the dude from The Office. Zach Galifianakis hadn't been in fucking anything. Like, we now know he's a household name, Between Two Ferns and all that. But The Hangover was before. In fact, the director of The Hangover, and maybe even Bradley Cooper, I think. Maybe this is because I watched Bradley Cooper on JRE. But Bradley Cooper had to fight. Someone had to fight to get Zach Galifianakis cast. Because they were like, who the fuck is this guy? He was in, Out Cold, where he fucks a hot tub? He was. But then he was in nothing for a very long time. So The Hangover wasn't supposed to be this, cultural mega hit that it became. And so there were a lot of people who went from not that famous to very famous because of that movie. And Callen's not one of those people. And I imagine the news report we listened to earlier probably has something to do with that. Because this was big time Me Too, Weinstein.
And so I'm gonna get out of there. I was gonna leave, and one of the security guys
Weinstein being busted. I mean, he was out there.
Recognized me, and he was blocking certain entrances to the house so you couldn't go in. And this guy collected modern art, so he goes, "Go ahead, take a look. Walk around. I trust you." So I was like, "Damn!" So I'm in the bowels of this mansion. It's just rooms and different art things. And then I come to a room, and there's this, and there's this giant canvas. It's a white canvas, and it looked like the artist took his long hair and dipped it in black paint, and then did this once, right? Just this bullshit I'm looking at, right? And I can hear the din of the party, and I already feel a little bad about myself, right? And I'm looking at this thing, and this duke, this count, this striking Dracula, I didn't see him at first.
Dracula.
I just heard him. I'm just looking.
He's still on one, and we're starting to get into Act 2 here.
Looking at this painting.
I'd say we probably hit it a few minutes ago, but...
And I hear behind me, this voice, and it just goes, "Do you hunt?"
He's so strong when he's doing characters, man. I think we're about to get into the stuff where he gets out of this character and he kind of starts lecturing us and all that. Which is what shaded people on the denouement. But those people probably don't know what that means. I do. As of yesterday. I always knew what it felt like, I just didn't know the French had named it. It's where all the threads come together. It's where all the different storylines and beats of the story all intersect, either resolving or commingling. But it's where it all comes together. And Snatch, very early on, was always one of my favorite movies when I was younger. Because, Mickey the Pikey, the Irish Gypsy, is very hey, oh shit, that's what I do. But, but also the writing itself. Guy Ritchie, what was the critic description? A rock'em sock'em caper with energy to boot. So, pretty cool. But it was the denouement of Snatch makes the whole, it brings everything together. And in storytelling and narrative and storycraft, that is the term for that moment. You probably all know the moment I'm talking about. Where does the A story and the B story, how could those possibly intersect? They're so far over. Holy shit! And that holy shit moment is the denouement.
I have hunted before, yeah. And you're
denouement, stuff comes together.
You move
That's how I memorized it.
like a hunter.
So anyway, we're going back. He's doing character stuff. It's still good.
Behind me, I hear this voice, and it just goes, "Do you hunt?" Oh, hi. Do I hunt? I have hunted before, yeah. I knew it.
His like smile, I have hunted before. His kind of shy smile. He's a capable actor, and knows how to use it to his benefit in his comedy.
Move like a hunter.
You move like a hunter.
I'll be honest, when I first saw you, I thought someone had thrown clothing on a jaguar.
I guess you hate the guy, so you have to say that his stuff sucks. He doesn't like me, so I don't like him. It's petty, and it's short-sighted, and it's a shallow way of viewing a piece of work, because that's fucking funny. It's the voice that he's doing, his physical, how he sinks into this character, and the way his phrasing, his pacing, everything is directly on point for this. And for them to be like, it's just as bad as Gringo Papi, shows that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. When it comes to things that matter, you're just Kevin Harting it. That was very smart. That was smart, man. That was very smart. She was funny. And it was because she was smart, so I thought it was funny. Did you think that was funny? Smart. Yeah, smart, right? Watch it. I'm barely exaggerating.
Thrown clothing on a jaguar. And what do they call you then?
And what do they call you then?
Brian.
Brian.
No.
Again, he's not painting himself to be the man-dragon in this. He knows who he actually is. That man-dragon, I could beat up Joe Rogan nonsense is a joke. They just he did it too well. And people were like, we hate him for that. People hate him for a lot of other reasons, don't get me wrong, but the people who hate him for that reason are off base, and jokes like this prove it, because he's not trying to make the billionaire seem like the weirdo here. He's the underfoot character. He's painted himself as the meager one. Brian. That's funny.
Brian. No. I'm afraid that won't do. Do you mind if I call you Tarzan? I don't care. You want to. And that was the first time I met P. Diddy.
I got, topical at the time that this came out. It was a real easy way to get a couple of giggles by going, a Diddy party. Am I right? The baby oil. All those rapes. Whatever. It was topical. It's what comedians do. Okay. Didn't age well. I'm going to... Okay. I'm going to put this... dependence on... timeliness? Working title. We're going to examine it. It may get added to the list. Something that's topical, and that's why the joke is funny, if you're really relying on that. Ah, shit, this was a rug pull. Listen to it.
I'm afraid that won't do.
This is all funny. It's a funny bit. He's told some funny jokes during this bit, but the way that it ends...
Do you mind if I call you Tarzan?
Very fucking funny. Now, what he should have done there, because he's got us, I believe this character. This isn't a Monopoly guy. He's taken a while to kind of provide a backstory and a setting, and he's these tendencies, and he's a rare art collector, and he has billionaires and actors at his house, and so we know who this guy is before he starts talking about this character. So right here, in my opinion, is where he should kind of go in on how crazy it is that he's gonna tell me my name, and I was like, yes, that's my name now, blah 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 blah, but instead,
I don't care. You want to. And that was the first time I met P. Diddy.
That was the first time I met P. Diddy. We're not going to cost him points. We're not costing him points for the fact that it's topical, though that is in bad taste, I would argue. the dependence on timeliness, working title. That's not a part of the list yet, but it is reliance on subversion of expectation. This isn't necessarily structurally repeating, kind of is, but more specifically, it is based on not subversion of expectation, rug pull reliance. There we go. That's why I was having a hard time talking about it. Other than that, the scale's flawless.
So nice. It's really nice.
So nice. It's really nice. It's really nice. What, because you met Diddy for the first time? This is just doing comedian stuff. Right. Nice. So nice. It's very nice. Trumping out on us here. So this may actually be a little bit more of a 2-act structure, depending. If he goes in to change the tone and proceeds to kind of... Because I'll just say that it's less definitively a 3-act structure than I thought it was at first.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. I mean, he even called it out that it was a rug pull. And I didn't give it to him for the first 2 or 3. But I said if I hear him do it again, it's going to cost him. And it did.
Yep. That's what money does to you if you're not careful.
By the way, if that show continues to go on, I bet they do come up with a way to rate them. Or maybe this is just me expecting the best out of people and being constantly disappointed. I don't know. But I want to point it out that they didn't have it, and then I talked about it, and when they have it, I don't think they took it from me. I just think I thought of it first. It's crazy that they're just going off of like, she's very smart. It was funny.
If you chase a sensation, you got to keep upping the ante. I can give you a...
Explain why it's smart. What was smart about it? But I have a feeling that they would have a very hard time articulating those thoughts.
$1,000 million, and you'd have a different set of problems. And I guarantee if you spent it on nothing but safety and comfort and sensation, within about a year, you'd go so nuts, you'd be so numb that you would start importing danger and discomfort right back into your garden just to feel alive. That's what happens. Yeah, don't. You can't you cannot surround yourself with all that safety and comfort. You need struggle. You need it. You need uncertainty.
It is. Okay. So this is closer to a 2-act structure than I thought, because what he's doing right now is changing gears, and not in a good way. He's going from one of the most solid first acts I have seen since I started doing this. I've gone over about 25 of these, studying very, very closely. I'm not saying it makes me an expert, but I'll say that in the last 25 or so of these specials that I've watched, this might be the best first act. And unfortunately, he's doing about 70 on the highway and shifting down into second gear. What we're about to feel, we were going to need some seatbelts for.
You can't just have... that's why I think we read the Garden of Eden. I think we read it the wrong way.
Whiplash. Oh, broken collarbone. Oh, God, the kids are crying. Oh, there's other cars stopping to see if we're okay. That was crazy. And it does... not get better in the second act from here. It's for the next, I think, about 20 minutes. We're going to be hearing him be very sanctimonious, and he's going to be on his soapbox. He's going to talk about God, and like I've said it before, I don't care what or who you worship, whatever religion. I don't give a shit. I just don't like hearing guys with microphones talk about their religious beliefs. Some about growing, it bores the shit out of me. I don't think it's wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to do it. I'm saying it's fucking boring and often quite cringeworthy, as we're going to see here.
I don't think it was...
He's talking about the Garden of Eden. There is a caveat to this reference specifically, but we'll get to that. No spoilers.
That's why I think we read the Garden of Eden. I think we read it the wrong way. I don't think it was paradise. I don't. I think it was a form of hell.
That would be so interesting on some kind of deity-based podcast or something. Like, why don't you go on, I don't know, I don't follow any of them, but why don't you go on some Bible pod? the Bible podcast, where we talk about the Bible and then share your hot takes there, because frankly, it just does not translate to people that don't give a shit about this. So he thinks the Garden of Eden was a form of hell. Fascinating, groundbreaking, comedic stuff. You see what I mean about, like, Whiplash? How he just was doing 70 and dropped it into second? He was cruising in that first act. We are not cruising anymore.
I think we read it the wrong way. I don't think it was paradise. I don't. I think it was a form of hell. I really do. Because think about it. You want to be in a garden where nothing can kill you? Where nothing can hurt you? That's another way of saying nothing happens. No adventure. You need to not know what's going on. If for anything to be fun, you gotta have a time limit. First of all, you gotta have a time limit. Even if you were coming all the time, like, right? You're like, when is it at? You know, you become agony. There's got to be an end point, and you got to have at least a possibility you might die. You have to have that. You have to have danger. The only reason it's fun to ride a motorcycle a little too fast is you might fall off and lose all the skin on one side of your body. Right? You have to have...
I guess there's sort of a relief there, sort of a kind of a punchline. I was right. This is where it gets off the rails, and there's really no coming back from this.
Have that.
There are qualities to his final joke, but again, leading up to that, we're about to hear a lot of piano, if you know what I mean.
That's why it's more fun to pet a tiger instead of a cow. A cow's like, oh, boring, but like a tiger's like, you almost killed it, you know? Yeah, man. I don't think Eve bit that apple because I think she was just bored. I do. I think, we call it a sin. I think she'd call it an escape. I think all of us eventually...
I hate when dudes make podcast cringe right.
We would have bit that apple. You want to wake up?
No, they're not right, because they take this and they use this as the example for the entire special, and that's a misrepresentation. It's not all this bad. This is really bad, but it's not all like this. So, don't worry, I'm going to be playing, but I'm also paying very close attention. We're going to charge him to the maximum extent of the law, as far as the Eek scale is concerned.
Up in a garden, an eternal garden where nothing...
In fact, already, right here, character consistency, that's going to be a point. Because he went from being, like, funny, self-deprecating, self-aware, I hang out with rich guys, but what we do is ridiculous. And, well, he threw it right in the garbage. It's only minus 1 point. But if he'd have remained consistent the entire time, it would have been 2 points. 2 points total, but he's going to lose that potential point for character consistency, because this is crazy to go from that first 25 minutes into this.
Can hurt you, nothing can kill you, next to a naked virgin. He seemed fine. He was like, what do you want to do?
Stop talking about sex, Brian.
Another treat, cuddle a vegan tiger, take a nap. She was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Fine, you waited till the end of your joke. I'm not going to hit you with an ad placement penalty. This is the fourth one. I guess I would have to go back over all the critical leaks and see what the average is, but that would also be something that's like, okay, for every ad over 7 that you have in your special, it's going to cost you a point. But we're not there yet. Just building up the scale is all.
Right? That's what happens, man. That's what people do in real life. You make enough money, man. You make enough money and you spend it on the wrong shit, I promise you, you will wake up one day and say something insane like, I want to see the Titanic. Yeah. But that shouldn't be surprising.
Why are they clap-during that? I almost never know. You know, you gotta wonder. Anyone been to the mothership? Is there an applause sign there? That would really help out if you could let us know. I am not someone who has been into the mothership, but it's just watching Kill Tony and watching these other specials that take place here. Sometimes it feels like there is an obligatory, like, applause, applause. And I know there's a no heckling sign of satirized before.
To us as human beings. That shouldn't be, because, you know, you can get to a point where the only way you feel alive and connected is to get into a tiny submarine, to cram into a tiny submarine and go 2.5 miles under the surface of the ocean to the coldest, darkest, wettest place on the planet to see that much of a boat. Shine the light over here. Look, the hull. Woo! But that makes you feel more alive than being on a yacht in Tahiti for the 25th time. I don't want to do like fucking sunshine, jet ski, dancing. I want to go. Isn't that weird? Elon Musk.
Jet ski dancing. I want to go down. That's not even like a rug pull reliance. Those are just like thoughts he's sharing.
He's worth $400 billion. You know what he thinks about all day, as far as I can tell? Mars. Bezos is the same thing. That's literally like you can make enough.
Ooh, careful! You did a little Elon salute
Mars.
there.
Bezos is the same.
Boom! That's a screenshot, buddy. I'm gonna misrepresent the shit out of you. Yeah. Anyway, we'll keep moving. I had thoughts, but we'll keep moving.
Same thing. That's literally like you can make enough money where you wake up and you're like bored of Earth. That's what he wakes up and he's like, I've done it. Right? Every day he walks into SpaceX and he's like, how much longer?
I don't even know what to call that, but it should cost him something, right? I don't know. Okay, first of all, I do have to go back and give him a point for originality because he's his own thing for sure. But I think I also got to hit him with a point for delivery, or minusing a point for delivery, because that's whatever that was. Sucked. It wasn't very fun at all. Also, it's going to cost him a point for the crescendo for his hinges. Because of that whiplash I was describing, that's what you need hinges for. Your things that tie, they're the big transitions. Joke to joke to joke transitions are important. These hinges, as I call them, are the transitional material between acts 1, 2, and 3. This huge part of, are you crescendoing to it? Have you built to this hinge, or did you just suddenly change everything you were talking about and the act that you were doing and just start doing a different act? And so that's... Right now it's for crescendo, because a crescendo in music is where you get louder progressively. So it's a crescendo. You've heard it in music 1,000 times. He didn't crescendo to this act break. Because we have transitions, which is jokes, but hinges, which is for acts. And I'm still getting to know the tool that is the scale.
So,
speaking of tools.
I'm not going to make $1 billion. That's off my vision board. Yeah.
Oh, the fighter and the kid, really?
Oh, that.
You should try doing like a truck giveaway or something. Just spitballing.
Apple came out of the garden. I always think that's significant. That apple and that snake. I always think about the symbolic significance. The apple's always there, no matter how old you get. There's always that temptation. There's always what you want to do versus what you should do. And you just, your whole life.
See, this would also fit very well in the Tappan Skins song.
Symbolic significance. The apple's always there, no matter how old you get.
This right here.
There's always that temptation. There's always what you want to do versus what you should do.
That's pretty good, like, second verse hook lyrical material there.
And you just...
Damn. See, you could take that and just use it for your bridge, as you're transitioning to a chorus. That's, what was it? You can't give me the ankle. I'm an ankle guy.
Life is you gotta resist, and it's just like, you just want to take a couple nibbles, right? It's like, no, maybe smell your breath, something, but you can't do it. You can't, man.
What the fuck is he talking about?
And you just, your whole life is you gotta resist, and it's just like you just want to take a couple nibbles, right? It's like, no, maybe smell your breath, something, but you can't do it. You can't, man. It's
on the apple. You want to smell your breath? What?
It never works out. This is a good cheat sheet. Okay, I'm older, so
it's another point off delivery, which is so disappointing because again, that first act he was nailing it, everything. He spent a ton. This is what I mean when I said it came out of the oven a little too soon. Because Act 1 is fucking chef's kiss. Act 2 feels like it's still in his journal. Act 2 feels like he's still just like writing down thoughts that he would like to make jokes out of. But I don't really think there's been many actual like jokes.
Because a lot of times when you're younger, you eat a lot of apples, and you have to eat a lot of apples to realize apples are not good, right? I used to look for the whole orchard, and I'd be like,
You have to eat a lot of apples to know that apples aren't good. That's not something... I'm sure that his material is dependent on this false fact that apples aren't good. I'll die on this hill. Apples rule.
But here's a good way to look at it, okay? If something feels really good right away for no reason, get away from that, okay? Yeah, that's an apple. If anybody on social media is telling you you can get what you want in 3 easy steps, get away from that snake, okay? He's offering you an apple. That's not how the universe works. Anybody who's like, all you gotta do if you want...
So I'll say this, spoiler alert, but we're at this point. So the Garden of Eden thing, this whole snake and the apple thing, he keeps repeating the phrase apple. And where at first glance that's annoying. And where you're like, okay, why does he keep saying like the apple? He said a few like false facts about apples even. But he's doing that on purpose to drive home apples as something that our memory holds from Act 2. So when he hits his denouement, which I'm not going to quote exactly, but it incorporates this Garden of Eden, this apple thing, and his phone thing from the first act. It is the perfect denouement, even if it's sitting atop a special, which is, when all added up, the sum total of this special is unfortunately low mid because of this act too. But the denouement, the moment where it all ties together, I've never seen anyone do it better. I haven't seen anyone do it better, we'll say, since I started doing this show. Because that's when I was paying attention. Maybe I've seen other people do it. Maybe that's why I love it so much, because the greats I used to watch growing up, maybe that's a tool that they use. I enjoy it from the perspective of a story, from storytelling. But as far as using it for comedic purposes, I believe that he nailed that. So he keeps talking about the apple and the snake and the Garden of Eden and blah, blah, blah. Hopefully he sort of bumps away from this, because it is important that he mentions it a few times to drive home the point of the apple for Act 3, which is good foresight, but I see why it turns a lot of people off for the same reason I was saying earlier. No one likes to hear people like me don't like to hear a guy with a microphone talk about religion.
Want to be rich like me? I'm a winner at capitalism. If you want to drive a Lambo like this and fly private so you don't have to breathe the poor's air, just do these 3 things, never these 6 things, and click the link. Now, here's my self-help seminar. It's 2 lines. And this will be very quick. This is all you got to know about life. Ready? If it's easy, it ain't real. If it tastes good, spit it out. The end. That's it. It's hard, though. It's hard. It's hard, though, because sometimes people can be apples, and they're delicious. And they're bad for you. They are. I used to be that way.
You gotta quit smelling all the apples, Brian.
I'm the apple in the group, and I know they're gonna screw my life up. And my friends were like, dude, don't do it. That girl comes from a great family. And I was like, boring. You know what I mean? I want to have sex with the apple with a bat tattooed to her neck, And my friends would see it. They'd see things I wouldn't. They're like, dude, she's got track marks. And I was like, or she's a seamstress. Like,
that's funny. This is the funniest part of Act 2.
You don't know. I know. Women have it too. Women love that bad boy. A lot of women, they have to go through their bad boy phase. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. That guy Luigi Mangione, that kid, dude, he's got more fan mail. These girls like, I want to marry you. It's like, yeah, I know. Toxic men. They're hot. They're hot. That's the problem. And I love when women say,
this needs to be studied. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. We're sort of studying it. But this needs to be studied by experts. And not just likable fellas. Because this is crazy. It's like we're watching two different specials. What happened to my guy? What happened to the dude? I was like, oh, yeah, that's fucking... He was cracking me up. How many times did you guys hear me actually organically laugh at this stuff? And then he just hit this wall. And what stands up after that fucking collision with the wall is this creature. I can see why people hate the work of this creature.
I didn't know he was toxic. I didn't know until it was too late. I didn't know he was a narcissist. Turned out he was a hidden narcissist. Turns out he was manipulative. I was being gaslit, and I was the last to know. Bullshit.
Oh, Brian, you should not be doing Me Too stuff. I mean, it's not Me Too, but we're at like Me 1.5 here.
Bullshit! You know everything about that guy in the first 10 minutes. The rest is denial, okay? That's what it is. People get divorced after 20 years of what they knew about the person in the first 20 minutes, all right? That's a fact. We just suffer from wishful thinking, okay? And don't flatter yourself. It's not, you love a toxic man, not because you're trying to change him. Here's why you love a toxic man. Because he brings out your toxins. Yeah, his manipulation brings out your manipulation. His narcissism brings out your narcissism. And let's be honest, those are wonderful demons to purge, right? And express, like, fuck you, fuck me, you know? God, it's just not here's the good news, though. You know what happens when you mix your toxins with his toxins? You know what you get? A lot of cum. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's an unholy.
See, even the crowd at the time was like, a lot of cum. The phrasing there, I just hated the phrasing, hate that. Maybe we don't even need to get into why. Obviously, that was gross.
Sex. It's an honor. You ever been in a relationship with, like, I can't sustain this shit. It's too much. You know who knows that? The dogs. You know, like you ever have sex where the animals in the house start to freak out? You know that's bad, right? You're going at it and the dog is howling and pissing in a circle. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, what the fuck is happening? You guys fighting? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That's a little closer to stool humping. I think I've actually seen that clip used as an example for why this sucks. End quote. That was not the like cowboy. He sent a signal from his root chakra into the beast. It's like that's not that. He just kind of like did a circle and was like, ooh, ooh. It's okay. Physicality did not contribute to the material there.
But the cat always knows. The cat is like, this is unnatural. I'll see you in 3 days.
Pretty good cat impression, I suppose.
That's the sound of an American oil.
You gotta give it to him though, man. He took the time to put these ads where they're the least disruptive. Waits till the joke is over. Waits till the audience is. He at least understands how crucial the integrity of the rhythm of these things really is. Versus David Cross, who is like, fuck you should have bought my special.
Sorry about all the biblical undertones or overtones to my...
Well, if this was the end of it, you'd be forgiven, but let's find out.
My presentation, I've been reading a lot about religion. I'm done with philosophy. It just gets me in a circle. And I'm just fascinated with the idea of a transcendent truth.
Shit. That sucked so bad. The fact that was a line that he wrote down and then refined and then said, and he said it again, and he practiced it again, and then he ended on... I've been reading a lot about religion.
Philosophy,
I'm done with philosophy.
Gets me in a circle.
It just gets me in a circle, which, like, okay, you're cooler than philosophy. fine.
And I'm just fascinated with the idea of a transcendent truth.
He needed, if that was a joke, which I hope to fucking God it was, if that was him doing Mandragon, he should have Mandragoned it a bit more than, like, it sounded very earnest. I think we're starting to see the other side of that, like, oh, the character that is Brian Callen, and then kind of him trying to be like, but no, I do have thoughts and they're valuable. I'm obsessed with the idea of a transcendent truth. He wrote that down and repeated it several times and was like, yeah, you know what? I deserve to be paid for saying I'm obsessed with the idea of a transcendent truth. That is the most, maybe the most pompous sentence I've ever heard. And if it was somebody saying it over coffee, I'd be like, you're serious? Oh. Yeah, no, I get that, totally. Like, you'd move on. But again, this was something that he rehearsed hundreds of times in front of thousands of people. And then he was like, we nailed it. This is the line we're going with. I'm obsessed with the idea of a transcendent truth. And I'm not going to wink, and I'm not going to smirk, and I'm not going to do a voice. I'm just going to state it.
I haven't landed on where
This right here should be your high water mark for the right-wing grift. This is where it peaked, bro.
And I'm very intrigued.
When he thought that was going to go over well was when the right-wing grift started to crack.
By Christianity. I hope Jesus is...
It was always flawed, but these flaws have entered a more structural nature, 'twould seem.
God, I do, because I think he grades on a curve, you know?
Just apologize for these religious undertones. Now you're making them overt?
I mean, he's very forgiving, you know? Like, I don't believe that you're going to hell. I think he'd be like, I didn't know because there's so many different... He'd be like, I know, come on, you know, right? It's a radical...
No!
It's a radical idea, Christianity. Loving your enemy is...
Okay, guys, I gotta be honest. That's like a physical illness that makes me feel... I feel physically nauseous to hear him in the same video, in the same act. Wow. I'm blown away and a little nauseous.
It's a radical idea, Christianity.
Russell Brand is trying the same shit here.
How
can I be a rapist? I love God and Jesus. Oh, what kind of a Christian are you? Don't ask me these questions I could never answer. How am I supposed to know the answer to what kind of Christian I am?
Your enemy.
I used to be evil, but then I found God. Sure, there might have been a raper too, but Jesus is in my soul now.
It's radical. To turn the other cheek like that.
Just want to pin him down to him.
To get hit and offer the other cheek instead of rolling that shit and coming up and fucking over, you know? No, I can't, man. My default is murder. It is, man. You know what I mean? When you talk about making the world a better place, that's...
So this is kind of... I believe this about him. I think when he talked like this on JRE and he was like, if you try to bully me, man, I'll show up at your house. And Rogan was like, Brian, like, you're a bitch. What are you talking about? You can't talk like this. You're not that guy. I think he was kidding on JRE, but it was coming from that classic, like, born a grain of truth in comedy or whatever they say. I think that's probably the case because I think he's being a little more genuine here. And this, I do understand, is what creates flaws subjectively. I understand this is what creates flaws with the whole Mandragon act. Because, yes, he does create a balloon animal, almost a satirized character of that Mandragon kind of guy. But then he also has these thoughts, which wouldn't be damning unless you reflect on them genuinely. I don't know. That doesn't quite nail it. I can't quite put my finger on why this bothers me, but I'll get there.
Code for...
Or I'll forget.
Some people need to die. It's so, man, just even...
We'll go back.
It is, man. You know what I mean? When you talk about making the world a better place, that's code for some people need to die. It's so, man, just even walking in sandals with no arch support, like, try that, right? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to work with lepers. Ew. Right? Oh, I could never eat.
Oh, because Jesus had, like, sandals. Lepers.
Eat around them. Keep your spores away. And I'll tell you this, I'm not selling all my possessions and giving my money to the poor. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
All right, stop.
Love the poor. I love them. But they're not good with money.
Oh, that's a point taken. That's a demerit, sir. What do we have here? Ad breaks. That was a bad one. I'll give you 1 point for the ones you did. You know what? Let's give them 2 points for the ones you did where they were well-timed and respectful. But that's all canceled out because this is an X2 minus, which means if you do it poorly, it costs you 2 points. You can get a point if you do it well. But if you do it bad, it's 2 points against you. So 0 sum at that point. Don't worry. I tally it all up after I play my little song for you. Which is going to be a good time, and we're going to get to that after we get through this here. We're 34 minutes in. You know what? We may have to double back for this. We may have to come back for the last 20 minutes or so. Let's let it play for a while. We'll see where we're at when we hit the 3-hour mark. I'm trying to keep these down to a cool 3. I haven't done this splash over before. We stopped before David Cross's was finished. And I think and Gringo Papi was like half an hour. So we'll break this up. This will be Who Did It Worst, Brian Callen's False Gods Part 2. Okay, the next one will be the Part 2. But we're gonna take it right up to around that 3-hour mark, and I'm gonna play you a song. And it's many times covered in many different ways. An oldie but a goldie.
I think I've been thinking about the Garden of Eden too, because I got children. When you have kids, that's like raising kids is keeping them away from all the apples, right? And it's like they're born into what they think is the Garden of Eden, and they slowly lose their innocence, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're going to eat all the apples too. They just do. And the apples come in different forms, like in a sharp edge, or like an electric socket, or you know what I mean, or a nervous dog. You know, I don't know, or a creepy uncle, divorce, whatever it is, but. You gotta just let him go, man. You gotta let him go. I got a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm just watching her. She's gonna leave the garden soon, and it's wild, man. It's just like, it was a 16-year-old daughter. That's such a bundle of positive energy. Yeah, anybody have a 16-year-old daughter? Oh, woohoo! Yeah, she loves me. Every time she sees me, she's like, Daddy, thank you for everything. Oh my God, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. Yeah, I've seen happier faces on coal miners, okay? Like, you have to roll your eyes that hard at me? Like, you know what I mean? It could be a little worse. I asked her the wrong questions, like I threw ice water on her back, literally. The other day, I'm always walking on eggshells because she's a lawyer, you know, and I look at her, she comes in, and I go, how was school? She's like, oh my God. Ask a more general question, Dad. I don't know, how was school? Books, teachers. Okay. I'll go slam my dick in the door. See you when you're 30, bitch.
I mean, okay. You can't even get, that wasn't even a rug pull. That was just Brian sharing his disgruntlements.
She's like, the girls are, by the way, I don't care what you say, boys are so much easier to raise than girls. So much easier.
What happened, Callen?
Right? They're just, because boys are lit.
See, this is like him ranting in a car, and like those can turn into some fantastic jokes. But they can't just stay thoughts and then you take them onto a stage. Which so far is what we found to be the absolute most damning quality of this special. And the rest of it, we will get into, I assure you. But before that, I'm going to get a glass of water, get myself prepared for our musical performance, and we're going to send you off on a high note. So, be right back. back. We are back. This is a tune, I don't know who wrote it originally, but it's been covered by bands like Darby O'Gill, the Irish guy, Metallica, ever heard of them? Thin Lizzy, singer is a bassist. That's 3 examples, which is all you need. This is Whiskey in the Jar. As I was rolling over the Cook and Kilgary mountains, met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol, then produced my rapier, said, stand and deliver, for you are no deceiver, the sheriff of a deer of an eye. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. So I counted up his money and it made a pretty penny. I took it in my pockets and I brought it home to Jenny. She vowed and she swore she never would deceive me. The devil take the woman, for it never can go easy. Sure, never dear of an eye. Back for the daddy-o, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I went up to me chambers for to take a slumber, dreamt of golden jewels and lo, it was no wonder. But then Jenny took me charges and filled them up with water, sent for Captain Farrell to be ready for my slaughter. Miss Sharon of a deer of an eye, back for the daddy-o, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Now it was early in the morning, just before I rose to travel. Up came 7 footmen and likewise Captain Farrell. I first produced my pistol, for she'd stolen away my rapier, but I couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Miss Sharon of a deer of an eye. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. And if anyone can aid me, 'tis me brother in the army. And I don't know, was he stationed in Cork or in Killarney? He'd go wandering with me over emerald fields so many. I bet he treated me better than my treacherous courting Jenny. Miss Sharon of a deer of an eye. Back for the daddy-o, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Sometime after sunrise, just before my execution, the captain called upon me for my final elocution. But before my feet did swing, I heard a voice I knew so plainly. Then out popped my brother with his courting troop so mainly. Mr. Rim of a deer of an eye. Back for the daddy-o, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Lives were lost to Captain Farrell and the others, and when we made our getaway, I said unto my brother, I said, we've got but one source of our every single peril, and I'll not rest until I've killed that bastard Captain Farrell. Miss Sharon of a deer of an eye. Back for the daddy-o, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Downs when we did come upon the captain. I must admit, I've never fought another quite like that man. But despite all of his training, Farrell all but missed me. And to his death here shall I raise this jar of full of whiskey. Miss Sharon, oh dear, of an eye. Back for the tatty-o, back for the tatty-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Miss Sharon, oh dear, of an eye. Back for the tatty-o, back for the tatty-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Thank you so much for hanging out with Critical Inks. We're going to finish up Brian Callen's special next week's. In the meantime, my friends, be nice. Almost nailed it. Woo! Felt good.